That was like an accidental thing as well. Cozy boys. It started off no. At the start of my videos, I always say like salutations, Squadius Famius now, and
Yeah,
that started off as like a joke. Like I was just taking a piss out of like Jake Paul and
yeah.
because he's like squad fam, whatever. And then I was like, oh, what if I like make it super British and just like Squadius Famius, and now it's like a thing.
No,
So
that's dope though. I wish I had like a thing to say at the end, because at the end of my videos, I'm just confused. I'm like, well, subscribe to the channel. Like,
yeah, bro, it was like it was just so weird. Like every like OG like 2011 to 2015, that whole era
yeah,
of YouTube, everyone had like a set intro and a set outro,
yeah,
and it was just really crazy because now it's a bit weird to do that now. I know I kind of do it with like salutations and blah blah blah, but
yeah.
looking back, it's just really weird that everyone had these like really scripted intros. And I mean, I kind of have like a scripted outro that was more like an accident. It was just like, if you like the video, then please give it a like. If you dislike the video, then give it a dislike. If you want to support the channel, then please press the little subscribe button and the little bell notification if you're going to get notified when you want to upload a new video. Thank you guys for watching my videos. You guys are the best. Bye. Bro,
Damn, how do
it's
you
burned.
memorize that? That's
It's burned.
crazy.
I've said it so many times that that's literally all I know. But yeah, that's my life.
Yeah. All right. So live now. All right. So for people who don't know who you are, tell the man them who you are.
Hello, my name is. I'm gonna say my name is Sicckm8. No, my alias is Ken Kyle. I am a fashion YouTuber and low-key roadman. I'm basically just like I'm a fashion guy or a fashion enthusiast, I suppose is the correct term for it. I talk about a lot of like vintage and thrifting, and that's basically the long and short of it.
Yeah.
That was a really bodged intro, but it's fine.
Yeah, because that's honestly why I wanted to bring you on, because I like different perspectives. And like I was saying, I'm like into every facet of fashion because I've been involved in like, I've been through the whole thrifting like thing. I've obviously gone to Supreme drops.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I like talk about high fashion, but I realized that like, no, because you see the people that are mostly into high fashion,
Yeah.
they see fashion in like tiers. So they think that, oh, so when you're on high fashion, that's above like thrifting or vintage or streetwear or whatever, but they're all like just different. Like nothing's really higher than it. If anything, things influence high-end fashion. So like we were saying, terrace culture influences high-end brands, and streetwear influences high-end brands. So it's kind of weird that people see the hierarchy in it instead of just seeing them as separate things.
Yeah, I kind of see it as like if fashion was a town. That makes sense. Like there's over here, there's that scene, over there is that scene. I think high fashion though is like it can be seen as like, you know, it's on this pedestal,
right?
But at the same time, is that just because it's like a hot topic right now? You know, it's really mainstream to be into high fashion at the moment. Like
with archive fashion and all that stuff.
Yeah. It all seems to be like interwoven into high fashion, and I think that even in the like the mainstream, I'm talking like people who aren't necessarily into fashion, they all know about like Off-White, and sort of they have somewhat of an entry level. I was going to say like Gucci, Dior, like all the houses, whatever.
Yeah,
they have an entry level into high fashion, so it's become this monster that has so many different faces for so many different people. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion, though.
Yeah. So what I want to know is, what made you start your channel in the first place? Because like I told you, I've been following you for a long time, like since Crep City.
Crep City.
Like most guys won't even know what Crep City is, but yeah, maybe you can talk about that.
Yeah, sure. So I started fashion YouTube. Well, before I did fashion YouTube, I was just doing like regular stupid YouTube videos, like, you know, like the old school like Joe Sugg, Marcus Butler type stuff, just random challenges and whatever. And then I went to my first Crep City and decided to vlog the thing, and that changed everything for me. I was literally introduced to so many things. I didn't know
Right.
anything about fashion or hypebeast culture or anything. So this was the first ever time I saw like a pair of Air Max 97s and saw Supreme and like basement garments and whatever. And from that literal experience, I was like, right, I'm into fashion now, which is probably like a really shallow way into it, but that's just how I got interested. And then from then I started doing like, oh, I'm going to start buying Supreme and Palace clothes and see where that goes. And I'm going to buy loads of shoes. And like, it was really like your typical hype beast path into fashion.
Yeah.
And I think it just kind of evolved from there, because like as time went on, obviously like your taste in fashion changes. And I was really interested in vintage fashion. Like literally one day my sister came home with like a vintage Puma like cream jumper, and then I was like, yo, where did you get that? And she was like, oh, charity shop, like £3.50. And I was like, boom. From that moment on, that was it. Like thrifting every single day.
Yeah.
Everything thrifted. I mean, even now all these are like vintage or thrifted. So yeah, not like a revolutionary story, but that's just
I think that's dope though, because even like most of like the OG YouTubers, like I'm not sure if you know who like Steve Booker is.
Yeah, he's one of the like, first fashion YouTubers.
Yeah, they were like thrifting and stuff like that. And ultimately, like thrifting is so good because when it comes to, you know, like now the big buzzword is like sustainability. And everyone's like, they want to be sustainable. And then everyone's like, oh, but it's so expensive to like dress good. And I'm like, well, you could just thrift.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's quite interesting that kind of thrifting, I think because of like the whole rise of like archive pages and high fashion now, like thrifting has kind of been on the back burner for some people.
Yeah.
Which is quite weird because once again, like I've said, it's just a different sector of fashion. Like if people are really into fashion, you'll be interested in every single side of fashion.
Yeah. All right, sorry.
Someone's got a question for you. Is there anything in you that wants to explore high designer?
Yes, actually. I'm kind of like on the way of exploring like old Izzy Miyake stuff. I think actually today I was looking at his old like 1995 collection. Like the most like memeable piece is like that parachute jacket that Robin Williams wore. So that was my first introduction, and I definitely want to explore more Izzy Miyake stuff and like the whole archive Japanese high designer type stuff. So that would be my entry level. Comme des Garçons as well. So
that's dope.
Yeah. Boy, I feel like I'm so late to the party though. Like proper, like, oh, hey guys, have you heard of Comme des Garçons? Like, have you seen these Converses with the hearts on them? They're so cool. Bro.
What does someone say? I lost interest in Steve Booker when he started hanging out with the UK YouTubers Alfie Days. Why is that though?
I think it's because like, I don't know, Steve Booker was proper like, I'm into my coffee and I'm into my vintage.
Yeah.
No, not vintage. He's like fashion.
Streetwear, yeah.
Like, and then and then when he started hanging around with like Alfie and you know all them like other YouTubers, I think he diluted a bit maybe, or I don't know. It's just where he went, I suppose.
Yeah.
This
is the jacket that he was talking about.
Yeah, bro. That's the only picture of Robin Williams that's become like the meme. Because he wears other fits. He wears like Bape. He wears he's got all these other kind of fits, but that's the one that's like, not this again. Yeah.
It's cool though. I like it. Pushing boundaries. Definitely.
It's weird as well because it's like you never really expect someone like Robin Williams to be like a Jean's enthusiast kind of thing. So, it was really interesting to kind of see his fits and how they relate now. So it's really cool.
Someone said, do you think hypebeasts are turning into high fashion brands turning to high fashion brands like Rick Owens and Helmut Lang?
Oh, big time, 100%. I think hypebeasts are switching out Supreme for like Geo baskets.
Yeah,
like that's the new box logo. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Helmet Lang, I would say, is a bit on the back burner, but like Rick Owens is definitely like the new Supreme.
Yeah.
I think someone posted a meme. It might have been like Fuck Hospin or Meme Saint Laurent, where they basically had like 2015, like everyone in box logos, and then like 2020, everyone in like all black and Geo baskets. And like, are these the same guys?
Yeah, and it's funny because now it's kind of brought about kind of like a lot of competition, because you have like people who consider themselves like purists, and then they have a lot of people who are just like entering, like learning about Rick Owens and wearing Geo baskets and stuff, and they're like, you don't know about Rick Owens, and all that competition. I just find it so funny. There's a group on Discord. It's called, I think, Rick Owens Talk or something. And it's apparently one of the most toxic groups, because really? that's all that happens. It's just people gatekeeping, like, you don't even know anything about Rick Owens, like, why are you here, type of thing.
Bro, it's weird, like when a community has been around for so long and then it sort of gains a lot of popularity, there is a lot of that like gatekeeping. I know this is completely off topic, but it kind of relates to the point. But so there's this like grandmaster chess player, and he's like a big Twitch streamer now. He's like a really cool guy who makes really interesting streams, and he teaches other Twitch streamers how to play chess.
Yeah.
Long story short, now there's a big argument in that community, like, oh, he's diluting the chess community, like more people are going to want to play chess, and all these moves are going to come in. Yeah, it's more or less the same thing with like the Rick Owens situation.
That's just building the sport. That's building the popularity of the sport.
Exactly, and it's like chess is a board game, fam. You can buy travel packs of that stuff and play it on the way to like a destination. So it's not that deep. But I think the point stands where if a community has been around for so long and it suddenly becomes popular for whatever reason, there's always going to be that backlash, like, oh, we were here first. That means that like we're better than everyone else. We knew, we're trendsetters. So
yeah,
I think that's all. There's a lot of that mentality to it.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like even the whole like Rick thing, where it's like they'll be like, if you don't know about Rick Owens, then you're not into fashion type of stuff. It's just like so weird to me. Because if you're into fashion, you're into what you're into, and other people are into what they're into. And then if maybe someone wants to learn about what you're into, you help them, and you're like, oh, okay, what do you want to learn about? But this whole like, yo, you shouldn't even be wearing. It's so weird, and that's how you know that it's hype beasts that are moving to Rick Owens, because people that like fashion, people that care about fashion, appreciate every side of fashion, and they're not the type to just be like you don't wear it right, you this that. Those type of people are just people who seek validation, by wearing Rick, and they kind of project their insecurities by like saying. Because they want to seem as if they're like really knowledgeable about fashion. So then they feel the way to do that is by throwing other people down who are just getting into it. So it makes them seem like they're bigger and they're more knowledgeable and that type of thing, which is quite weird. But what I want to know is, in the vintage scene, like vintage clothing, is there a similar type of dynamic?
I don't know. Yes and no, I suppose. Like there is definitely like a snobbery in some like vintage sects. Like I think they are a bit more hostile to newcomers in certain aspects. I've seen, like, if you go into like a thrifting Facebook group, if you're like brand new, you don't know anything about vintage, people just take the piss out of you like completely. Like, oh, is this worth anything? And they'll be like, yeah, like £10, when it's like some really rare like £2,000 t-shirt or something. They're just completely unhospitable. I mean, that's like a tiny fraction, and I think you'll find that in more or less any community that have, you know, a certain amount of members or whatever. But yeah, I think there is definitely like, oh, you're only here to make a quick buck, or you're only here just because it's a popular thing. So it's, yeah, I do think there's a lot of that. But at the same time, I've made great friends in the fashion. I've made great scenes in the vintage community, and some of them are really helpful. They'll go out of their way. There's one guy that I follow and tweet to. He's actually put out like dated tags. So he will tell you, or he's got like a little grid of what Nike tag was from what year. So when you go
Right.
out thrifting, you know what's actually vintage and what's kind of
Right.
newer stuff. So there's definitely two sides to it, like super helpful and just like, don't, how dare you thrift? Do you know what I mean? So
Right. Yeah, someone said if you don't know your single stitch versus double stitch, get out, or something I saw on IG. That's just crazy. That is wild.
Bro, I'll be honest, yeah. I didn't know what single stitched was for a good while. I don't know how I got away with it for so long. And it's the stupidest thing because it's just like the end of a sleeve, like it's like one stitch or two stitches.
It's just, in the grand scheme of things, it's just not that serious. Like, if you want to tell someone about it, then you can tell them without being like such a prick about it.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, what I wanted to say was, when do you think was when you started to get like traction on YouTube?
I think it definitely had to be the height of like when hypebeast culture was at its peak. Because I was doing videos like my sneaker collection and my latest pickups, and those did really, really well. But I think what really propelled me forward was the vintage stuff. Like there was a style at the time called like pin rolling, and that's basically like tapering your jeans, but like with like tapering your jeans, but with like a cuff, like in a cuff kind of way. You cuff your jeans basically. And that video got like 700,000 views, and like, a lot of people saw that, and then they like, oh, I like vintage fashion, and then they saw the other videos, boom, 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 boom. So I think it's a bit multifaceted. So some of it was from the hype beasts who sort of like kept with my channel and like knew people who were into vintage. So it kind of amalgamated into this audience.
Yeah. What do you think about, like, because we were talking about this earlier before we hopped on this, is basically, you know, like British culture, how there's like terrace culture and that whole scene where people wear like the Novacek and Stone Island and stuff like that. And there's a big vintage culture in the UK, which now more recently you see rappers like Drake wearing the same type of outfits. And then people are like, oh my God, like he's some style icon. What do you think about that?
What, of celebrities?
Yeah, and Drake in particular, because Drake does wear a lot of like outfits that are reminiscent of British terrace culture.
I don't know, like the whole Drake situation it's been a big topic for a while now. Like literally, I think I saw a meme a while ago that was just like Drake 2013, just how like Drake was then. But now he's just like an Edgware roadman kind of thing with like Stone Island and a big beard or something. So I think, I don't know, like there is like a conversation to be had. Like, is Drake just like appropriating like roadman culture, or is it literally just like a costume, like an aesthetic? I don't know, but I think if anything, he's making that aesthetic more mainstream, if that makes sense. He's really turning it into a style rather than like a uniform. You know what I mean? Like if he did the same thing with like 80s casuals, like that will be like mega mainstream. I think it's just because Drake as a person and like how big he is, no matter, he can touch anything and that will become suddenly big and popular. But yeah, that's just my rambles on it.
Someone said, have you thought of wearing CCP?
Bro, I'll be honest, I don't know what CCP is. Can you enlighten me?
So basically, in a nutshell, I could give you two definitions of CCP. So CCP is this like really cool brand, right? Avant-garde. And he's essentially, he makes a lot of items out of like animal skin. So there's a whole group of people who are like, oh, he's an animal abuser type of thing. But he makes like really, really unique clothing that a lot of people that make brands now copy. So it is like iconic in the fashion space. But what I will say is it's also one of those like hypebeast brands where like people, to try and prove that they know so much about fashion, wear like exclusively CCP. Like, so they can seem like they're on like an upper echelon. So it's like become a meme in like the whole fashion culture. like where people are like, I wear CCP, so I'm better than you type of thing.
Okay, so kind of like a Philip Klein, is it Philip Klein?
Well, the difference between CCP and Philip Klein is that CCP is actually good, like aesthetically, where Philip Klein is actually just trash. But yeah.
Bro, that's crazy. That's crazy. I don't know. I think my sort of aesthetic at the moment, or quote unquote aesthetic, I'm trying to go for the like Americana type look, I suppose, which kind of is the next stage of vintage, like and thrifting, I suppose. So more like an Owen Hyatt type look, or like a new wave Sanj type look kind of thing. Not saying like definitive, I want to dress exactly like them, but I love that whole aesthetic, I suppose. Like the clothes are like torn, they've kind of got like a lot of personality to it, rips and tears, every piece tells a story, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's why I'm really liking Archive at the moment as well. Just like looking back on the stories and like who's worn it and what it kind of represents, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's really interesting. I'm having a really fun time in fashion. So
yeah, someone said if you wear CCP because you like it, it's okay. Yeah, that's facts. Just like there's people who actually like Rick Owens that wear it, and then there's people who are just like hype beasts and just want to like flex type of thing. And then that's why they wear Rick. So it just depends on why you do it.
Yeah.
But
100%.
the only issue is the issue with CCP, not the brand. Obviously, the brand is good, but people that wear it, even if they like the brand or they don't, 9 times out of 10, if you meet someone who wears CCP head to toe, they think they're like higher than most people in fashion, just based on that fact. That's
crazy, bro. Yeah, I think that's a personality trait that's literally across all scenes. Like when hypebeast culture was at its peak, if you was head to toe in Supreme, it's like literally the same mentality. Like, I'm best dressed like streetwear kid.
Yeah.
Just because I paid resale on a pink box logo. I don't know, but
yeah, it's so insane. But what do you think of like fashion YouTube and what it is like right now? Like you said, you watched the Fernando live.
Oh yeah,
and
really cool.
yeah, I asked him like what he thinks about kind of like YouTube now and like YouTuber brands that are coming out right now. So what's your opinion on that?
On YouTuber brands?
Yeah, we can go YouTuber brands and we can go like the scene after.
Yeah, I think like it's really cool because at this very moment in time, people are really paying attention to what they're putting out. Whereas like like 5 years ago, you could literally just put your slogan on a t-shirt and be done with it. But I think now, as the scene has grown, people are really putting a lot more into their products. Like for example, Jacob Bare Knuckles collection, like that went crazy, that went insane. That's literally a full-on brand of its own merit, which is crazy. The same with Magnus's stuff. Magnus's brand is literally, you could probably not know who Magnus is and still pick up a Ronin piece and be like, yeah, this is fire, this is like a good quality item. So I think because they're from that background, they've got it in their head, like, what would I personally wear? What would I consider a quality product, rather than just throw your name on a t-shirt and be done. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, okay. And then to pivot into that, what do you think of like the new YouTube scene?
Oh, bro, I love the new YouTube scene. I think it's really refreshing to see. Like, there's a lot of talk on, you know, high fashion, avant-garde and stuff that you wouldn't really see a few years ago. You know, like back then it was all about Supreme drops and, you know, what does the Palace lookbook, what is the Palace lookbook saying, etc. And I think as more YouTubers talk about fashion as a concept a bit more seriously, I think it really builds it up and turns it into this, you know, really approachable thing, if that makes sense. Like, for example, the videos that you put out really like discussion based, and it's really approachable. Like someone who wouldn't necessarily know anything about fashion, like, or anything about that whole scene, can come into that and sort of have an entry level, like, that's cool, he's explained it, people in the comments are talking about it, and I've learned something today. and then you can go through that, and you're kind of low-key educating and entertaining at the same time. So I think it's a really interesting time in fashion YouTube.
Yeah, it's because I think what we're trying to do is just like get rid of this whole gatekeeping thing in fashion, where everyone's always like, oh, like, bro, you should know about this, like, bro, like all this, I'm higher than you because I wear high fashion, all this like rubbish that exists.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like where me and Bliss Foster come in, because we want to kind of like democratize just high fashion in general, and then talk about this in a way that people can understand, in a way that people can discuss.
Definitely. I think, it makes it a lot more approachable and a lot more less daunting, I suppose, because I'll be honest, I've always been somewhat intimidated of high fashion. Just because like there's all these, there's so much information to unpack. So like seeing it in sort of like bite-sized YouTube videos and sort of explained to you in such a way, it's really like it takes the whole scariness out of it, if that makes sense. So
someone said, what are your thoughts of Off-White in 2020?
As a concept, or just as like the collection in 2020?
Yeah, I think maybe they mean both.
Okay. I don't know. Off-White was literally, I don't know, it's something that I kind of describe as like a halfway brand. Like it's half streetwear and half high fashion at the same time. They kind of represent both sets. I think it's a good way to transfer over from streetwear into high fashion. It's something that you can look at, and then it's like, oh, if you like this, then you may also like, this and this. So I think it serves a purpose.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because it's like with Off-White, especially recently, but like in the past, I didn't really like what they were producing, but recently, especially the last two shows for the menswear, I've really liked the clothing. The only issue is what you see people wear on Instagram or just in general is the exact same stuff over and over and over again. Whereas Off-White actually do make a lot of like interesting stuff. Like they had a collab with Levi that was pretty cool, but all those things kind of just go by the wayside because everyone's just interested in getting like the stuff with the arrows. And then it takes away from like the reputation of the brand, because then people just like reduce it to like it's only for hype beasts and that's it.
I think that's where like it kind of has not an identity crisis, but it's like it does represent streetwear and high fashion at the same time. Because again, some of those pieces are literally just like a long sleeve shirt with the arrows on the back, and that appeals a lot to the like hype beast culture. But I think it's good in a way because it draws those people in to see what else is going on, so they can have a look at those pieces, and then they can look at the pieces that you like and sort of have more form and have a bit more structure to it. And it might waver those people over. People like who are hype beasts will mainly stick to that for a bit until they see something interesting enough for them to waver. That's my personal opinion on it. So again, it serves a purpose.
I totally agree, because I was talking about this with the casual, and it was basically the fact that like people do hate on hype beasts, but people need to start from somewhere. So it's like, for me, for example, I was into sneakers and then streetwear first before I got into high fashion. But maybe if I didn't get into Supreme when I did, I wouldn't have been able to then pivot into learning about high fashion and stuff like that. So 100%. The thing is, you can't hate people for like being at the starting point of like just wearing things not necessarily because they like it, but because they see it as a flex, and then obviously evolving into like finding what they like and then just sticking to that. So I think it's good to have an entry level, no matter how much like we love to hate on especially hype beasts and Off-White. At the end of the day, those are people who in a few years will be the people who find what they like, whether it's vintage clothing or high fashion, and then really be part of the community. So that's another thing about it.
Yeah, I think to sum it all up, like this is a phrase that stuck with me. It's like, in order to have shit taste, one must first have no taste.
Right.
So that's basically sort of like the words I go by. That makes sense.
What do you say? 10 years from now, everyone's going to be rocking beat up off-white Nikes.
Bro, people are doing that now. I was like, people who aren't even into fashion rock Nike off-whites so much.
Yeah.
Like, I was watching this like PewDiePie video and like how millionaires think, whatever, and one of them was like literally wearing the off-white Nikes, and it's like it's a flex, I suppose. It's on the same level as like wearing a Gucci belt or you know, having a Louis Vuitton bag or something along those lines. So it's definitely been granted that status, I suppose, of like I don't know, just like mainstream hype beastery. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's definitely on that same sort of level of like household names, maybe.
Yeah. Because it's like, I saw a comment recently. So yeah, someone said 4 years ago, burger was my grail, and not looking back, I laugh at myself. My interest in fashion has developed. So what I have to say on this is, why do you think that is developing? Like, because there's people who still wear Supreme who are actually in it, because people forget what Supreme is. Like, Supreme is a skate brand.
Yeah.
So if you're a skater, you're going to be into skate culture, and part of skate culture is brands like Palace, brands like Supreme. So I don't see why people see leaving Supreme as like developing.
I think it's like, because Supreme was so popular and it's like this big, massive culture, that again, that was like people's entry level, like their first steps into fashion. And I think moving from that, you know, can be seen as growth in a way. Like, it's not necessarily like, oh, all Supreme is dead, or like all Supreme means it's, you know, this is like baby fashion, and moving on means you've like grown up or whatever. But at the same time, I think that if you've developed from like, if you've got it in your head that like, oh, I care about fashion, hang on, my notifications are going mad, I need to turn them off. Yeah, like if you've used Supreme as like your entry level and you moved on to other brands, that's just sort of, it's nothing to do with Supreme. It's just like you finding fashion interesting and finding fashion interesting as a concept. That's, you know, it's not necessarily you've grown out of a brand. It means that you've suddenly developed a taste and now you're exploring yourself. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's because like what I hear some people say is they'll be like, I don't wear Supreme anymore. So they just dismiss the whole brand, which is kind of weird, because it's like, first of all, Supreme collaborates with so many high fashion brands like Jean Paul Gaultier, Comme des Garçons. Like, so if you just cancel the whole brand just because you like think you're now at a level that's above Supreme, you're gonna miss out on some really good stuff. Because Supreme will still make good stuff till today, like stuff I would definitely wear and buy. It just because you don't wear like a Supreme box logo, that's not all Supreme makes. That's like a tiny. In fact, the Supreme make box logos so infrequently that when they do, it's like such a big drop, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's box logo week this week."
Sorry. Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think. Sorry, I've completely lost my train of thought. My family chat is doing my nutting. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, the comments say that Supreme is a gateway drug in a sense.
Yeah.
So I do agree with that to a certain extent.
Yeah. Someone said, "What's our thoughts on Riccardo Tisci at Burberry over the past 2 years?"
Over the past 2 years, I think, I don't know, Burberry has become a bit more experimental. I think they've really, because like the last thing that I remember from Burberry, because I'm really like flimsy when it comes to like catwalk fashion, etc. But with that rainbow stuff that they did, and sort of like turning it into somewhat like a chav chic.
That was Christopher Bailey's last show at Burberry. So that was the collection before Riccardo Tisci like became the head.
Oh right. Oh
yeah,
man,
yeah, yeah.
I'm so out of touch, man. I literally
No, that's cool.
yeah. But what's their new stuff like?
So the new stuff is, first of all, when Riccardo Tisci came in, he changed like the logo. So obviously you've like seen that, like, so it's no longer like a Novacek. It's like the Tisci print, whatever he calls it.
Oh, like, yeah, it's like a monogram type thing, right? Yeah.
So that was basically the thing, because he wanted it to be a new era. Because the whole issue that Burberry have been having, especially more recently, is Christopher Bailey, his job when he came to Burberry was, chavs wear Burberry now. How can we make this luxury again? So he tried, but you can't get over the Novacek, because ultimately you can buy Novaceks at thrift stores for £2.
Yeah.
So when Riccardo Tisci came in, the only thing that they could think of like reclaiming the luxury status of the brand was, okay, let's just go away from that and just make a new logo completely.
Yeah.
Well, and the issue with that is, when a brand has become iconic for like one specific check and logo, it's almost impossible to like try to make the new one pop.
Yeah.
So like he's tried to make it work, but I don't think it's working. I don't think people are like really receptive to it.
Yeah, I think when I first saw that, it kind of confused me a bit. But now that you've explained it in a way that's like they kind of wanted to get away from the whole like chavs hijacking the Novacek. Yeah, it kind of makes sense that they've and
it's more the way it's implemented. So I'll check for like what people are stocking in Burberry, because it's some of the way it's implemented is not tasteful at all. Like he really just puts the logo in some weird places. Like stuff like this is just a bit weird. Like the way it's used.
Yeah.
Like the way they're using the logo here just looks very off key. Like, can you see how they're just... So a lot of people don't really like the new Burberry because it seems a bit...
Yeah, it kind of looks like they're trying to emulate the old identity of Burberry, but like trying to put a line under that and, you know, kind of trying to continue from with this new like monogram that they've got going at that.
Like, they're trying to be experimental, but like stuff like this is just not good. Like seriously.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I forgot, like, I don't know, a while ago, years ago, I think, didn't Burberry stop making like Novacek shirts and they just like concentrated back on trench coats?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did. And that kind of salvaged the brand a little bit, and it's kind of on this wave. It goes like up and down like that. So, I don't know. I think they've just got to, you know, find their feet again. They've got to really center in on their brand identity and just run with it.
Yeah, I agree. And sometimes you just have to like just embrace whatever the brands become, because now that they're fighting it so hard and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Yeah. And Riccardo Tisci is like a good designer, but it's almost like they gave him Mission Impossible and they're like, here's this mission, change the brand perception of Burberry, and here you go. And they just expect that he's going to just magically just change the whole perception.
Yeah, like make it Burberry, but not Burberry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's a bit like going back to the Supreme thing. Like if you gave that task to Supreme, it would be near impossible, because it's like turn Supreme back into a skate brand, like just a skate brand. It's like that's impossible now, because Supreme is like synonymous with hypebeast culture. It's turned into an entirely different entity, an entirely different beast. And I think it's, I'm not going to say outgrown skate culture, but it's definitely become bigger in a sense that like they're doing, or they've done collaborations with Louis Vuitton, whereas in the past they were literally bootlegging their design on box logos, because that's the whole like anti-fashion. And now they've essentially become a part of like the zeitgeist, which is insane. So to tell someone, okay, now just change that into what we was before, or change it into something completely different, is an impossible task, like you say.
Yeah. Someone asked your thoughts on CTH4.
I've only seen like a few pieces. I'm trying to get my phone low key so I can like.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, it's quite good. I mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, we can look at like obviously some of the runway stuff, but CTH4 is like,
oh, it's kind of like
it's a weird, it's like
industrially.
futuristic kind of like aesthetic.
Kind of like a Cold War in a way.
Yeah, but more, definitely more like street than a Cold War.
I'm looking at their Instagram now.
Yeah,
it's a very interesting aesthetic.
It's quite an interest, like they the aesthetic of like being futuristic and all that stuff, it seeps into like every single aspect of the brand. So like I was at the latest show at Fashion Week, and even like the press release that they give you, it was like, here we're heading into the intergalactic territory, and it's like they're really pushing this idea of just the brand having that aesthetic.
Okay, so it's kind of reminds me of like techwear in a way.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of like techwear, like a merge between techwear and streetwear.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think honestly, I know this is like a little bit off topic, but I definitely think that the whole techwear scene is gonna blow up a little bit more when Cyberpunk comes out. Have you heard of this Cyberpunk game coming out?
Oh no, I haven't.
Well, basically, it's like a cult following game. It's a bit like D&D, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
But they're making this into like a video game. It's been like highly anticipated for years, and it's all centered around like future 80s and that kind of thing. And all the fashion is very like super techwear.
Right.
And I think that will inspire a surge in that kind of fashion. I know it's not that deep. It's like a video game, but at the same time, like I think it's gonna shift fashion a little bit, or at least it will be more mainstream, just a little bit.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I thought, in my head anyway, I thought like techwear peaked like a few years back, because there was a time when techwear was huge. Like everyone was talking about techwear. Like everyone was like buying Nike ACG hats and like ACG like jackets and stuff. Like there was a time when it was massive. Like acronym was big as well.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff. But I can see why it could come back.
Yeah, I think it has to be pushed in a way, because I think that, you know, that's basically all fashion is just like people pushing certain, you know, trends in people's faces and just seeing what sticks, kind of thing. I mean, I know there's a lot more to it, but that's just generally like, I think how trends take off. I don't know. I'm just talking out my ass.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Someone said Akira is revolutionary. Yeah. A lot of people don't like Akira though.
Really?
Like it's like, yeah, it really splits opinions.
What are we're talking about the movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I've heard nothing but like good things about Akira. Like Akira was revolutionary, big time. There's like big, massive video essays about it and everything. Like there is no denying the impact that Akira has done. Like it changed everything.
Someone had a question about Burberry. Okay, yeah. What do you think about them burning all the stock at Burberry?
Didn't they stop doing that? I swear. Yeah. So, you know, at the time, it kind of made sense, and it was kind of like really high fashion to do that. It's like, oh, nothing's ever going to go on sale. Like it keeps that. I
remember, because their whole plan in the first place was they're trying to get back the luxury status of the brand.
That's crazy.
So
surely
they had to. Well, to them, they had to burn it, because it's like, we're trying to reclaim that Burberry's luxury. So if there's too much on the market, it's going to get diluted, type of thing.
I mean, I kind of get it, but at the same time, if you wanted to reclaim it, shouldn't you be going to like market stores who are selling bootleg Burberry, buying it all out and burning that? The same with, like going to thrift stores, buying all the old Burberry and burning that, rather than just your stock from your stockroom. I don't.
Yeah.
Like, I get what the message is, but I don't know. I think they could have executed that a bit better.
I agree.
And obviously now it's impossible to burn anything, like sustainability and all that. There's no way.
They will come for you. But what's weird is like now they have. I read this article and it's they have this like new sustainability thing, which is so weird because like literally just a year ago you were literally like burning all your garments, but then because of like the flack, all of a sudden now they have this whole like sustainable collection.
Yeah, they've got this whole like sustainability program. It was like, bro, that's because you were getting slated like 30 days ago because you were burning all your stock. Oh man, I think it's funny how a lot of companies have jumped on like sustainability, like it's like it itself is a trend. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Luckily for me, thrifting is accidentally sustainable. I don't think anyone goes out of their way to go thrifting initially because it's sustainable. I think it's just a happy coincidence that, you know, it can be seen that way. But a lot of brands are jumping on this. Oh yeah, like, you know, we're only using, you know, certain products. Everything's vegan, everything's sustainable.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There's been a lot of, well, I'd say controversy, but like Doc Martens vegan boots.
Yeah.
People are saying that like they're trash or whatever, like they're really poorly made, etc. But I don't know. It's I think it's just like a hot topic and a buzzword, like sustainability. But I mean, obviously it serves a purpose. I mean, it gets people talking, and people like, you know, I don't want to sit here and preach and tell people what they should do, but like sustainability is a very important topic. People are very passionate about it, and there is a lot of like waste just in general when it comes to the fashion industry, and it's insane the amount of stuff fast fashion can put to landfill every year. It's just insane when you could recycle most of that stuff and put it back into production. But you know, I'm just here, innit?
Because like, honestly, that's why a lot of people have like a problem with fast fashion. Because like, say H&M for example, they have like this whole sustainably conscious line, and it's so weird to me. I'm like, this is a brand that probably contributes the most to sustainability issues in the whole world, and they have like a tiny little line, and they're like, here we go, we're sustainable, guys. We're still going to continue all our unsustainable stuff, but we're going to add even more clothes and say it's sustainable to kind of seem like we care about the issue, which is so weird. And people actually buy it as like I'm supporting H&M system. I'm like, really? Like what? Like, look at this stuff. They call it conscious, sustainable style.
Yeah, bro. We're probably gonna dead any sponsorship opportunity with H&M. I don't think I could take it anyway. I'm too indie. Yeah, but it's crazy. H&M is wild. Have you seen those? Like, I hate to go off topic because I know we're talking about this, but I'll tell you what, I'll save it. But yeah, I think H&M's sustainability section is literally just like one small piece, and it's like, shouldn't it be the other way around? If anything, shouldn't it be like dead all of your clothes and literally like make sustainable versions of them all, or just like completely have a restructure? I know that will cost like millions and millions, but if you're serious about being a sustainable brand and completely changing face and actually caring about the environment, then really, you know, it should be that, and not just here's a little collection, guys.
Like the thing is like, I understand it's difficult for a brand to be sustainable because fashion in and of itself is unsustainable. Because the whole thing, if we really get deep into it, is there's enough clothes in the world. So anyone that makes clothes is already unsustainable. So all we can do is just decrease the waste. Yeah. But with H&M's case, it's like they have a certain amount of clothes they make a year, and then they just added more to it with the sustainability stuff. If they cared about sustainability, what they would do is kind of, with their big process, try to reduce the waste, like slowly. But they didn't do that. They just run everything as it runs normally, and then just added one tiny division to add to everything they already do anyway. So that doesn't, all it does is make it worse, in fact. Yeah. It doesn't actually solve anything.
Yeah, it's literally just like trying to save face, in my opinion. It's jumping on the trend because they know that people will come for them, which, you know, rightly so. Like, people will come for them like, oh, you're the most unsustainable brand. Fast fashion is literally killing the planet. But like, you know, their sort of counter is this tiny, tiny little collection that in itself like doesn't make any sense. So it's all like hypocritical. I was going to say hypochondriac, but it's hypocritical. So
it is.
It's crazy.
Someone said, what do you think about brands jumping on the upcycling and reconstructed trend?
I'm in two minds about it, because as like a thrifter or someone who's into vintage fashion, I you know, I'm a bit of a purist, because it's like I love vintage t-shirts and I love like all the imperfections, like rips, tears, if it's thrash, if it's got like paint stains on it, like it all adds to the aesthetic and adds to the story. But when people, or brands should I say, try to clean it up and turn it into a different product, like, I like it because it's obviously sustainable and it's making something brand new out of something, and that in itself is, you know, something to marvel at. At the same time, I'm just like, bro, don't turn that don't turn that vintage t-shirt into a crop top, because I will go wild, fam. There's this one person on eBay, and I won't name no names, but this one person on eBay where she literally takes all of these cool vintage vintage t-shirts, turns them all into crop tops, and I'm sitting there crying, because one of them was like a 1990 something Resident Evil 2 Capcom shirt. It's worth like hundreds of pounds. Boom, crop top, dress, or something along those lines. I'm screaming internally. But that's just me, though, I suppose.
I know how you feel, because, like, for example, there's brands like big in high fashion, say like Anthony Lamista, or even like Rick Owens, for example. Like, people obviously, like, let's say Rick Owens' like first collection. Yeah. There's not many people that have garments from that first collection that are probably still alive, or like that still exist, that aren't in landfills. So it's like there's a limited amount of those things, those pieces in the world. So if one person messes it up, that means now there's one less. So like that would make purists go wild. Like, yo, there are only 5 in the world, now there's 4. It's like the whole, it's like the Raf, you know, Raf Simons' Riot Bomber. It's like huge.
Oh yeah,
like the archive fashion scene. Yeah,
that's like the grail of grails, the holy grail. Especially when Drake used it in his video.
Yeah,
people are mental now. Raf Simons, oh my god! Like, have you heard about this new thing called Raf Simons? Like,
but it's like, imagine someone got a Riot Bomber and just like turned it into a sleeveless like jacket. People would go mad.
They'd be, bro. I don't think words can describe the uproar.
I think people would protest outside that person's house. I genuinely think that would happen.
Yeah, 100%. It's crazy though, but like at the same time, it's like if you have, it's kind of like if you have 2 million pound paintings, exactly the same paintings, and then you burn one, suddenly the painting that's left is priceless.
Yeah,
it's the only one left in the world. So maybe that's a little bit of that mentality behind it. I don't know, but it's crazy.
It's on fast fashion for the most part. So, did you want to say something?
Oh, bro, I just wanted to say, like, completely going off format. Have you seen Zara's new pictures of literally just like their new lookbook? It's crazy. There was this picture that my girlfriend showed me on Twitter. It was like she's squatting over like an oven hob, and that's the picture.
Wait, what? Bro, I need to search for this.
Bro, it's crazy. I think Zara, like, they go wild, bro. Whoever does their lookbooks is either like
with their like campaigns and stuff.
Yeah, it's like it's either outrage marketing. Zara oven. I don't know. It was like literally this one thing on Twitter. Maybe I just got like trolled. I don't know, but
yeah, that's crazy. I want to see this. Hopefully, I'll find it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I found it.
Oh, did ya?
Yeah. It's what the hell? She's just like sitting on an oven.
Bro, fast fashion, right? They're wilding, bro.
Do you reckon that's just like a publicity stunt? Like they knew obviously everyone would talk about it.
I think so. I think a lot of these brands know what they're doing, especially like I remember you've done a video on the Balenciaga Zen shoes,
right?
And I think Balenciaga know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, well, they do. Obviously, like Demna Gvasalia, that's like his MO. That's like what he does. He just like trolls fashion.
Yeah.
Like the whole point of like even like Vetements, for example, was it's literally a commentary on the state of fashion. So it's literally in the form of clothes, making fun of the whole fashion scene that like someone can just make anything, and then people over conceptualize it and then pay a lot of money for it. So literally, he's like, he'll make something like really shitty and really like memey. And the whole point of it is just to like, it's a commentary on fashion. Like, watch, guys are gonna buy this just because, like, So he like does that and everything he does, like even at Balenciaga. So the whole thing with the Zen sneaker is kind of similar, where it's like, I'm gonna make a shitty football shoe, but because it's Balenciaga, like people are still going to buy it.
It's crazy because it's like it serves two purposes as well, because it serves as outrage marketing, which is like all of these like meme pages were like, oh, look at what Balenciaga are doing. It's like, haha, but they got you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got you talking about it. Yeah, this is the picture. Oh, bro, I don't understand what the message is here. I mean, can you conceptualize this and be like,
no, I definitely cannot.
Bro, it's like,
yeah.
What are they advertising? The sandals?
Yeah, it's literally a product page for the sandals. That's literally what it is.
I remember there's another one that I saw. It was on Essence, and it was like a pair of earrings.
Right.
But you know how they're packaged, and it's like a little like cardboard, and then you've got the earrings on the cardboard.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. That was the actual earring. Like you're meant to wear it like that.
Yeah.
Like, but I forgot what it's called or who designed it. It's really jarring because now I've said it, like it's going to be in my head all day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think fashion goes wild sometimes, and it's crazy because it's very entertaining, especially when you see people who are outraged by it. It's so funny. Like people go mad, like, oh, this is why I don't like fashion. Like, you know, there's like all these pretentious people. Blah, 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 blah. You can buy this like Zen shoe from like Sports Direct and all that. It's like, bro, come on.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's like ultimately the whole Balenciaga thing is still genius in a way, because like I did say the whole point of my video was like trying to tell people that they shouldn't buy into it, because it's like that's the whole point of it. It's like I can make this shitty product about working class culture and literally sell it for 600 and people are going to buy it because it's Balenciaga. So like you have to be smart enough to understand that you're not supposed to partake in the joke. Like don't be stupid enough to like then actually go and spend the 600 and be part of the actual joke. It's like, so Vetements' the last show, and I'm gonna like do a review on it because it's really genius. Before Demna left was like that big show. I'm not sure if you saw it, where it was like in the biggest McDonald's in Europe.
Was that the most recent one?
No, it wasn't the most recent, but it was the one before last.
Oh yeah. I saw that floating around on Instagram. I thought it was very unusual.
Yeah, so it's just the whole thing where it's like a commentary on like capitalism, and that's why in a lot of the like pieces it was a play on like big corporate brands, like the Vetements shirt that said Vet memes, but it was really supposed to say Vodafone and like shit like that. So, but then what's even more funny is it's smart if you're just like looking at it and just appreciating like the messaging behind it. Yeah. But it becomes a bit worse when you like actually buy into it, like when you're part of the joke.
Yeah.
When you genuinely just buy a t-shirt that says Vetamemes on it for like 700.
Bro.
And like he like deliberately pushes the boundaries to see how far can I go to where people will still buy it. So like, let me see if I can make an IKEA bag, sell it for 1,000. Let's see if people buy it, and people do buy it.
Yeah.
So he's just like, it's just so funny that people actually buy into that stuff.
I like it when people buy it and then they like post it all over Instagram like it's a flex. Yeah.
I mean, it is a flex that you can buy literally a rip off Vodafone t-shirt for 700, but you're just part of the meme essentially.
Yeah.
Like literally, so like stuff like this, it says it's the PlayStation logo. It says PlayStation. Or like this Heineken Vetmonts, and it says Vetmonts clothing, premium quality.
Yeah.
Like, or like stuff like this that's Vetmonts, but it's like Vodafone.
Yeah.
Or like Internet Explorer Ecstasy.
Bro, this really reminds me of a brand called Oi Boy that literally do this. So it's crazy how you know, it's got this like meaning under it as well. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Oi Boy do exactly the same thing here, but with more like household British brands.
Right.
So they done one for like you know, like McVitie's biscuits.
Yeah.
They done one was like McFitties.
Yeah.
And and stuff like that. They done one. I don't know. One of their really earlier ones was they literally took the Ralph Lauren pony and like basically put it inside a Burberry print.
Right.
And that was the t-shirt. And it was, I don't know, like it confused me to start with, but then they sent me a shirt and I was like, okay, cool. But then they got a cease and desist letter from Ralph Lauren.
Oh shit.
And I thought, that's cool now, because like now this t-shirt's like not meant to be a thing. So
yeah,
I kept it ever since, just because it's an illegal t-shirt, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I think that makes things like bigger, because like the whole Rick Owens thing, like loads of people in like the archive community are now going and buying the first Rick Dunks. Mm-hmm. And the whole thing about that, it was inspired by the Air Force One. So Nike sent him a cease and desist. So then he had to like rehash the design, and then that's where we got like Geo baskets.
Oh.
So like, yeah, so like now people are like, because it's limited, because obviously it's out of production, so everyone's like, oh, the old Rick Dunks are like way better than Geo baskets, because it's like the whole thing where obviously they're limited because not in production.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of another story. It's like this old school tobacco brand basically made their own Nike Air Force shoe, but basically turned the swoosh upside down. Yeah, and they got like a massive cease and desist letter.
Yeah.
They had to, part of their deal was they had to track down all of the shoes that they made, or that they sold, and basically like burn them, destroy them.
Right.
So if you ever have like this illegal shoe, apparently it's worth so much that Nike are like actively are looking to destroy the shoe.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry I couldn't give any actual information, just like a random tobacco brand made a pair of Air Forces. But
no, that's cool.
Yeah, but yeah, honestly, my fashion knowledge up until like a week ago has literally just been one story I found on Twitter, or like someone's Instagram story. I'm so like uneducated. It's amazing how I've made it this far.
No, but what people understand is like you're not claiming to be some like fashion, like I don't know, like professor.
Yeah.
Like, so ultimately, like I don't think people are going to penalize you for not knowing how. That's why I literally, like, when you say you're not about it, I like talk, like when you said you don't know about like CCP, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll just like give you a brief overview, because that's what it's about. It's about like just sharing the information, rather than this guy doesn't know CCP, doesn't know about fashion, which is what people do, which I absolutely despise. But yeah, someone had a good question that I wanted to answer. So they said, so Demna designs things to not be bought. No. So obviously he makes things to be bought, but part of Vetements and like what he does at Balenciaga is a commentary on the fact of how people will literally buy anything from a high-end brand. So if you buy into it, you're just like part of the whole commentary essentially. But that obviously is not only what he does. I mean, Demna's like an extremely well, like he has a huge background. Like he went to the Royal Academy of Antwerp. He worked for Margiela. Like he's an amazing tailor. In terms of like fashion design, he's actually an amazing designer. You can see that in Balenciaga when he made those like couture level dresses, or like when he makes like tailored clothing, like he even has his own like silhouette of like blazers. I'm sure you've noticed like the boxy shoulders and all that stuff, and he's like mastered that look. So obviously the meme stuff is just like a tiny sector, and I wanted to even talk about this collection because, for example, this collection was a commentary on the Georgian War, because obviously he's from Georgia. So like a lot of the references in this was to do with like obviously war times and growing up in Georgia. So like you see like bullets, like target bullets on the garments, and there's also in this collection, I just need to find, that's why there's like camo in this, for example. And in this collection, there are pieces of flags of different countries that were involved in the war. So in general, the way Demna designs, he likes to make commentaries on certain aspects of life.
So and it's kind of like a performance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like this flag, for example, or like there's many different flags of like different countries that were involved in the war. So that's basically how he designs. It's like mainly a commentary on many different things.
Yeah.
So obviously the whole like meme stuff is just like a tiny aspect of it. Someone said thoughts on Gucci's Alessandro Michele's take on maximalism. Do you have any thoughts on that? Oh, okay,
Bro, it's scary how much I don't know. But yeah, carry on. Sorry.
No, it's cool because ultimately, like I said, it's not like anyone saying they're a professor or anything. So with Gucci and Alessandro Michele, I think the only reason why people see it as maximalism, is because the people before Alessandro Michele were Tom Ford and Frida Giannini, and their Gucci was very like minimal. So because the Gucci now is like completely different, it's like turned on its head, like prints everywhere, colors everywhere, like beads on animal embroidery and all that stuff. But I like it. It's different. Like people always see like maximalism as tacky. But to me, it's just like how you do it. Like Italians especially know how to like make maximalism look really like cool.
Yeah. But I've only ever seen like maximalism used in Maximalism, whatever, used in I've only seen like tacky outfits, so it's like big brands and big logos and so it will be very interesting to see in an outfit that implements that and you know makes it look seamless. So I'll be very interested to see who does that right.
Yeah, I don't know about this actually. Emily Oberg's sporty and rich brand copying and altering other brands' logos and the rest of the controversies. I'm not aware of that. Do you know what happened with that?
I mean, I've heard odds and sods about it, but I've just heard that she basically, I think it's one of her logos, like a champion logo, maybe. I don't know if this is the right. Hang on, let me do a Google search. Copy.
Okay, there's an article. It says, "Why is everybody mad at Emily Oberg, the influencer and founder behind Sporty and Rich?" So maybe I'm going to read this later, but maybe essentially she copies different brands. Well, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, we'll have a look. We're going to have another minimal situation on our hands. Bro, I don't mind throwing minimal under the bus. Like,
what's your thoughts on minimal?
Oh, bro, minimal.
Everyone this question.
I am not the biggest fan of minimal. Yeah. I'm just debating what I should say. I don't know. I think like the whole like ripping off Rick Owens and Chrome Hearts. It's just so obvious.
Yeah.
And it's just so like the argument is so flimsy as well. It's just like, oh well, we're making it affordable. It's like, bro, that's I'm not even gonna start. But it's just it's plagiarism at its finest. But you're trying to spin it so it makes you look like you're like the Robin Hood of fashion. You know, I'm bringing all of these high fashioned designs to the kids.
Yeah.
Like, bro, if you really thought that, you'd give them away for free. You know, if you really wanted to deep it that much. But I don't know. I just know that their practices aren't, you know, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Legit, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm just not a fan.
Yeah, it's like they're just doing what fast fashion brands do. Like I remember when like Yeezy, the Yeezy aesthetic was like really big, and like Zara like copied all the Yeezy stuff, and like it was a big thing. So it's like with minimal, I don't understand that argument where like we're making it affordable, like affordable alternatives.
Yeah.
Like I just don't get it. It's like if you can't like let's say afford what the expensive version is, like the original version.
Yeah.
Must you have that piece? Like, do you have to have that piece?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, people act like their life is going to end if they don't get that exact thing, Rick Owens' aesthetic of trouser. Like, there's so many trousers in this world that do you really need to buy a cheaper alternative of something? Like, if you can't, like, I couldn't afford the Rick trousers.
Yeah.
So I just didn't buy it. Like, and I'm not going to buy any like cheaper alternatives or anything because that would just be promoting plagiarism. So I'll just buy something else entirely. Yeah. Like this need to have like something so specific is something I don't really understand.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I totally agree. Like, it's not so much like, oh, live to your means, but at the same time, it's like, well, that piece is that much for a reason.
Right.
And like, if you're gonna take the shortcut and like go for a cheaper alternative, which is basically the same thing, you're more or less undermining the message of that brand in the first place, and that hurts the fashion industry, in my opinion.
And obviously, the work that because the thing about like designers like Rick Owens, is it takes a lot of time to come up with a silhouette that is so recognizable. So you can see a Rick piece and just know it's Rick from the shape. That is a very hard thing to do, to make something distinctive without like logos. And there's so much effort and time and research that has gone into making it like that. Yeah. So then all that, the whole part of it being expensive obviously is like a higher quality, but obviously it's not all quality. It's also like the research or all the time that it's taken to like master the silhouette, for example. Yeah. And that's also what you're paying for, is like the ideas. So when you buy a cheaper alternative, it throws that outside the window. Like you're undermining all the work it's taken to come up with all this unique stuff.
Big time.
Which I'm not a fan of at all.
Yeah. Like, yeah, basically like I've heard like obviously fashion designers have to go this place, that place, and another place for inspiration. They go traveling the world, seeing all these different shows, like putting all of their time and effort into something, and then, you know, make a piece from that inspiration, and just to turn around and be like, oh cool, you've done all the work for me. I'm just going to take your idea and you know, make a shitty version of it and then put it out for cheaper. It really, it undermines the work and the effort and the passion and the inspiration and everything. And it basically boils down and tells you that this product is just a way to make money. It's a cash cow. It's not an expression of someone's, you know, passion, if that makes sense.
Yeah, what this guy said is true. Like, minimal tried to glorify fakes, essentially.
Yeah, big time.
That's basically what it is. And they almost, well, it's working, because I mean, a lot of people still buy minimal and a lot of people still defend it. Like, I'm not going to pay why am I going to pay 400 for trousers when I can pay 80? But that's not the point. Like, they missed the point entirely.
Yeah. I think like the best way to combat minimal is literally just to be like, streetwear H&M. That'll get people going. That will get people thinking like, oh, he's got a point, you know. Bro, I remember when like Gosha Rubchinsky was a big thing, and like H&M basically cattered the whole aesthetic of like Soviet typography and everything, and it really like I didn't like it. It was just like you're clearly here just to make like quick cash off a trend, and like you don't care what it took to put that collection together. And I've carried that sentiment for a long time. You know,
like just think about it. Like Gosha is obviously Russian, and when he was making his brand, he was like probably thinking, okay, how am I gonna take my Russian culture and influence and make it into like a whole brand and make that the aesthetic? And imagine how long it took to develop those ideas. And And then he's been working on this thing for 5-6 years, and then all of a sudden H&M come copy his work and probably make more money from his ideas than he did himself. So that's also why I hate fake. Fakes remind me of, like, you know, when you were in school, right? And someone copied your work and got a higher grade. Did that ever happen to you?
No, I'm too dumb for that.
Bro, when I was in school, I had people who like copied my work word for word and got higher grades than me. And I'm like, wait, how? Bro. How does that even happen? So that's like with the whole fakes thing. Like someone spends all this time coming up with these ideas, and then a brand comes, copies the work, and then in the name of cheaper, more affordable alternatives, they actually end up making more money than the person that came up with the ideas. That is so insane.
Yeah, it's basically, well, when you boil it all down, it's stealing, and stealing is wrong. That's basically like, that's the bottom line of it all. So people can make whatever arguments they want. Oh, it's cheaper, you know, they're doing this, that, and the other. It's stealing. That's it. You wouldn't steal a car. Bro, like, do you remember those like VHS adverts? Okay, I'll shut up. I'll just be here.
Wait, someone said in the States you can't really copyright clothing, and he said many have tried, many failed. So he said it's clothing, you can't do that, it's universal use. So basically, if we go into the legalities of it, obviously the actual reason why you can't copyright clothing is because there's so much gray area into, did you actually come up with this like aesthetic? But there's obviously, so because of like situations in the past where that has happened and there's too much gray area, they made sure that you can't copyright certain things because it would just end up being ridiculous. That being said, everyone in the industry knows when a designer has come up with a certain aesthetic. It's just like, and what, like outside of like legalities of it, it's not even about the law. It's just about what is the right thing to do. And ultimately, if you support people that copy ideas that people have been trying to develop for years and years and years, you're basically just supporting the whole idea of like demeaning the work that designers put in. And like everyone knows that big level designers, like people that are really, really good, like people like Rick Owens, people like Demna Gvasalia, these are people that are super trained, and literally their whole life's work is just coming up with these creative ideas that all these other brands copy. So if you really care about fashion, if you can afford to support them, you will. And if you can't, then you'll just thrift or buy different clothing that is of that price point and not demeaning the work of something that someone has done. Well, what did someone say? This is interesting. I think people who aren't into the fashion scene see stuff like minimal and H&M stuff the same way that many people saw pirated songs and movies, in the sense that they just don't care that much.
Yeah, I see the argument there, because it's like, obviously always in a movie, if you're going to pirate a movie, you're basically stealing from the people who worked on the movie, blah, 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 like all that scene. It's the same principle. Totally agree. You pirate a song, someone literally had to sit there, write the song, get the studio time, you pirate the song, you're not supporting the artist. Same with clothes. Again, if you buy pirated clothes, that's what we can call them now. Yeah, bro. Pirated
clothes.
Bro. Okay. But yeah, just basically copying something is stealing, and that's it. So I agree.
Like, and it's weird because it's like no one said you can't take like inspiration from something. Let me give you a good example. Demna Gvasalia worked for Margiela, like for the house, the brand Margiela. So a lot of his designs, especially earlier on, it looked similar to like Margiela stuff, like the whole deconstruction and all that, but it wasn't the same. So people looked at it and they was like, oh, this looks quite similar to Margiela, but no one said, oh, this is a copy. It's like Kiko Kostadanov, who's like quite big right now. His like early collections, he's like a known Yohji Yamamoto collector. So his first few collections was like very like not similar, but like you could see the inspiration from Yohji. But it was so different, but you could still see the inspiration to where it's like, oh, this is inspired by Yohji, but it's not the same. What Minimal do is they copy it like for like literally. Like it's almost like they buy it, they like look at it and they copy it exactly. They want to get it exactly how it looks.
Like they literally just take it to a factory and just go, I want this.
Yeah,
but like
exactly.
100 times over. Yeah. No, that's crazy.
What do you say? I think people who buy minimal don't even know about Rick Owens. They just see an ad and want to get fresh and it looks good compared to stuff at a similar price point. That's true for some people, but there are some people who I've genuinely seen say, oh, but like it's better to get the cheap alternative because you can save money type of thing. Like, I've seen people make that argument before. So what did he say? He said, right, but with Demno, he doesn't cheapen the design. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. He said, I'm not a customer to Rick Owens. I'll never have the money to buy his piece. If I get a replica, what difference does it make to Rick Owens? The difference that it makes is his ideas, he's not getting compensated financially for his ideas. So like, let me give you a good example. I would have no problem if like Minimal were like, okay, we're going to copy Rick Owens, but every time we sell this Rick Owens copy, we're going to give 5% to Rick. That is something like I would be a fan of, but obviously they're not going to do that because they're greedy fuckers who like put no work into anything and they just like look for what they can copy it, and then people actually support those brands. Like, it's just like, because I always see these things as like me, if it was me, like if I was a designer and I like spent 5 years coming up with a concept, and because my brand is like not mainstream, like it doesn't sell that well, and then H&M copy my designs and make millions off it, I'd be pissed. Everyone would be pissed. If you can put yourself in your own shoes and you wouldn't want that to happen to you, why do you think it's okay when like the tables are turned? Yeah, I agree. Someone said it's okay to take inspiration. I totally agree.
Yeah. I think taking inspiration or like using it as satire or like parody, I kind of like what a lot of Chinatown Market do. So they basically, you know, like take brands and just kind of make them into like funny t-shirts. So there was one that's like really popular and it's kind of taken on a life of its own. It's like Christian Dior, but it's like Christian Dior in the font, and it's like newly reborn Christian Dior, so like kind of turning it into like a religious parody t-shirt. So like obviously it's still using the font and the brand as like a focus, but it's kind of, you know, it's transformative in a way. So at least that way, you know, there's a bit of your own ideas and creativity in there. So as long as it's 10%, you can get away with it in a way.
I agree with what this guy said. If you can't afford retail, Rick, look at this. Is a good point because, okay, good example. How much do those minimal cargos go for? I think they were like $60 or something like that. It's not like they were like super cheap, right? Yeah. So the thing about it, which is even more funny, is if you go on Yahoo Auctions Japan, if you go on eBay, if you go on Grailed, you can find really high-end stuff for cheap prices, like £40, £30. So like even the like whole I can't afford it thing is like, when I couldn't spend 600 on retail, I still had pieces from like Yoji and Com, because I was just like on the real buying Comme des Garçons Un Pleur shirts for £30 and buying Rick Owens shorts on eBay for £40. So even that, like you can definitely navigate your life without buying like pirated garments. Trust me.
Yeah, 100%, man. Totally agree. There's a lot of conversation.
Yeah, I agree with what this person said. It said you can buy anything else. It's not like if you don't wear Rick, you will spend your life in white tee and blue jeans. Exactly, and that's the whole point. Because it's like, if you can't afford Rick, why must you have that specific look? Like, why do you want that specific look to the point where you'd buy like a knockoff? Like, do you know how many brands are in this world? Like, that's what I don't get. Why people are fixated on like one specific piece.
Yeah,
I just don't understand that mentality.
Yeah, I think there's definitely like there's so much in the fashion industry, just in general, like so many different aesthetics, so many different scenes at so many different price points. It's insane just to fixate on, you know, one certain aesthetic just because it may so happen to be popular.
Right.
And I think people see fashion as a concept more as a uniform. I have to have this because I have to dress like everyone else, or I have to dress like this because I want to low-key flex and fit in. Whereas in my personal experience, I think fashion is more of a way to express yourself and sort of like be your own person. And, you know, that will evolve in itself. So if you're actively looking to have a personal style, you will find the brands that appeal to you, and that will include price point, you know? So if you're actively seeking a piece that you can't afford, to the point where you have to like buy a fake, is that you? If that makes sense. Is that really who you are? Is that the kind of person you want to be? I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, and what Michael said is true. He said, going back to why buying fake Rick is bad, the monetary aspect is just the beginning. Bootleg manufacturers make stupid money and employ workers for 21 cents an hour in factories. That's true, because also the difference between Rick and a lot of brands is like, obviously, production of Rick is done ethically, whereas production of like a lot of fast fashion brands, like Minimal, for example, is in all these like factories in Bangladesh where they're like paying little kids 21 cents an hour and like terrible working conditions, which is also another thing. Someone said like credits due don't exist in this industry, but two wrongs don't make a right. So just because in the industry people don't give credit or it's bad doesn't mean you should partake or support it. That's not how you like navigate things. Like if something's wrong with the industry, you're not like, well, it's wrong, so you know, I'm just not going to do it. It is what it is. Like that's not how you combat things like that. If people stop supporting Minimal, then they'll be forced to change the way they operate. It's because people just like normalize it.
Yeah.
Wait, what did he say? Yeah, it doesn't matter whether or not Rick is hurting for money. He employs people in the country with sound labor laws while bootleggers make money hand over first employing children. Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah. So he said there's a moral aspect to it beyond supporting creative. That is true.
Yeah.
It happens in all different aspects as well. It's not just like obviously one-sided. Like I just don't like copying, period. So like sometimes it happens the other way. Obviously, like high-end brands don't copy fast fashion. Like that never happens. But what sometimes happens is high-end brands will like, and someone I think pointed this out, high-end brands will copy like students' work, like design students' work.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah,
that's also just as bad. Or like sometimes high-end brands. So there was a brand, Hood by Air, which is like really like well respected in like high fashion scenes, and they were constantly copied by major brands like Versace and brands like that. They were ripping off Hood by Air heavy, and like making all this money off of designs of like a smaller brand. So either way it happens is wrong. So in this case, obviously it's Minimal copying Rick Owens is wrong. If it's Dior copying like Michael, who's a design student, it's just as wrong. Like I'm just not a fan of just supporting plagiarism in any regard, regardless of how it's done.
Yeah, it's weird, man. It's like there's this whole like underbelly in the fashion industry in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is actually a good question. What do you feel about that?
How do you feel about buying replica pieces or genuine pieces of cancelled releases? If it wasn't meant to be, it wasn't meant to be, man. That's it. Like, I personally wouldn't ever buy a replica piece for any reason, even if I really wanted a piece that doesn't exist anymore for any reason. You just kind of move on.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like, if it's a conceptual piece that never made it to production, it's the same difference. Like, I wouldn't buy a piece just because I wanted it that bad. I just move on.
Same. Literally, like It's just, I just don't get it. I really don't get it.
Yeah.
Someone said discuss the Yoji quote. That's a good thing to bring up, actually. Hold on, I'll bring this up. Because people, I think, misinterpret like what Yoji said.
Yeah.
So I need to find this. So look at the, look at this, right? So Yoji's quote on copying is: start copying what you love. Copy, 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 copy. At the end of the copy, you'll find yourself. Yoji Yamamoto. So see, what Yoji meant was, if you copy something you like, it's going to get to a point where over time you start to actually become unique and you find your own aesthetic. A good example is like what I said with like Demna Gvasalia. So at first his designs were like inspired by Margiela.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's just like found his own aesthetic like completely. Same thing with Kiko. His designs were like similar to Yoji, but now he's just like in his own space. But the difference between like people like these guys and Minimal and like what Yoji was saying, because Yoji's talking about more like people like Demna or Kiko, is that even with the whole like quote unquote copying, they weren't copying things completely. They were just being inspired by something, and then over time they find their own aesthetic. That's a bit different to what Minimal was doing. Yoji is not advocating for like copy, copy, copy like Minimal and make money off it while you do it. And that's not what he means. Is from a design perspective. And because I've read a book where he expanded about this. What he means is like from a design perspective, when you're like coming up with like your own concepts of design, if you copy a lot of different things and you like mix and match a copy of different designs, eventually you're going to find your own aesthetic. That has nothing to do with like actually making money and like exploiting workers while you do that.
Yeah.
So I think that's where like people like misinterpret that whole quote.
Yeah, I think it makes sense actually as well, because it's like, obviously the word copy can be interpreted in so many different ways. Yeah. But like in this sense, obviously it's in the meaning of inspiration. Like when you make a mood board and you know, you kind of seek out these different influences, and it's like, okay, cool, I want to just like that. But then you look at something else in the mood board and it's like, okay, so what if I implement these two together? And then you eventually come up with your own thing, which is unique to you. So yeah, it makes sense.
He said Minimal took that quote literally. Oh my god, that's hilarious. I'm not actually on Reddit, so I think you would definitely be a better person for this question.
Bro, there's so many different like subcultures in the Reddit community. The most obvious one was our streetwear, which is basically like a big massive like what did you wear today forum. Right. But I think the same with Facebook groups. You can literally find a Reddit page for almost anything. You can get one for like Supreme Talk or Palace Talk or High Designer Talk, etc., etc. So I personally don't really use Reddit that much. Most of my inspiration comes from wherever I can get it. There's no like centralized place for it. If anything, like the Vogue Runway app has been a very good resource for me. Yeah. But that's just like frontline fashion stuff, right? So that's where I'm keeping up to date. But in terms of like researching older stuff and just like researching communities and scenes, I just kind of find it through people that leads one thing to another. Oh, he's wearing that jacket. Where's that jacket from? Cool. What do they also do? Blah, 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 blah. So bit of everywhere, really.
People are asking me what book Yoji said that. So one of my favorite magazines, Sicckm8 magazine, their second issue was on Rei Kawakubo, and they had a rare interview with Rei Kawakubo, and then obviously parts of it they had to get Yoji to like cross-reference some things, and he addressed like some quotes in that magazine. So I would say get it, but only get it if you're rich, because that is like a Grail magazine. Like people buy it for like £500. Like it's crazy expensive.
Wow, that's mad.
I'm just lucky to have read it at the time.
Yeah.
Let's see what people are saying. He said thoughts on Eastwood Danso. Do you know who that is?
No, I don't know who that is. Bro, I'm learning a lot today.
He's not that popular anyway. So
okay.
Yeah, Eastwood Dancer. I know why he's asking me this. He just wants controversy, but I'm gonna give you the controversy you want. So, Eastwood Dancer is a fashion designer that studies fashion design at the London College of Fashion. I'm not sure if he's finished or not.
Okay.
But he used to work for Samuel Ross at A Cold War from the start.
Yeah.
So he was like one of the first interns and stuff. So like Samuel Ross like really likes him, type of thing.
Yeah.
But Eastwood Danso around the like streetwear community just in London is known for like scamming people.
Oh,
so he scams so many people I know for thousands of pounds, right? But like now he's trying to be like obviously like a well-established fashion designer, and all the stuff he's done in the past is catching up to him because he's scammed these people and now he has money, he's not paying them back. So like all this stuff is coming out about him and he's like trying to clear up his image. So he's like paying people off and like stuff like that. Like I have a friend who made a video about him recently and he like paid him off to like basically take the video down type of thing.
Really?
Yeah, and he's like trying to clear his image. So Samuel Ross won this award. It was like the GQ fund. And for the GQ fund, they gave him 200K. And because Samuel Ross has like a lot of money, so Samuel Ross was like, let me just support like an up and coming designer. So he gave that 200K to Eastwood Danso to like, help him out with his brand. So when like people saw that Samuel Ross gave him all that money, because I don't think Samuel Ross knows about his whole like background of like scamming people.
Right.
So when Samuel Ross gave him that money, everyone was like up in arms, like this guy like owes people like tens of thousands. And like Samuel Ross gave him all this money and like no one's even gonna, like he's not gonna pay anyone back type of thing.
Right.
So yeah, I think he's gonna struggle to like ever become an established designer. There's like his image is too tainted.
Wow, that's insane, man. That's a really wild story. Crazy.
Yeah. Wow. Like obviously there's people who like aren't from London who are just like finding out of his brand.
Yeah.
And like, oh, the designs are really cool, but I can't even see past him as a person. Because like being from London, I know so many people he scammed. It's
like one of those you can't separate the art from the artist type things.
Yeah, it's really hard because he is a like professional scammer, like professional scam artist, and now he like has overnight decided he wants to go corporate. And I don't know how that's gonna work for him.
Yeah. No, that's crazy, man.
Okay, so this guy didn't even know that about the scamming. Yeah, so there you go. Don't support his brand. He's a scammer. There you go. Yeah, he's like I have friends. Literally, I could call my friend now. Do you know what? Let me just go deeper on Eastwood, right? So with Eastwood, I was in a group chat of like fashion kids, like London fashion kids, like years back. And in that group chat, we kicked Eastwood Danso out of the group chat because he was scamming people in the group chat.
Wow.
Like that's how like deep it goes. So yeah, like Eastwood Danso is not like if you like the designs, you do you, but I can never support him personally until he pays all my friends back and changes his scamming ways. But till then, yeah, that's my thoughts on Eastwood.
Bro, that's an open invitation, isn't it? That's crazy, bro. That's like, bro. I bet there's a million stories like that in the fashion industry. Just like people fucking over each other left, right, and center. It's just, I don't know. Industries that big just seems so cutthroat at times.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many different like bad actors and whatnot.
Yeah. So he said Eastwood scammed Samuel Ross. I heard that like Samuel Ross, I think maybe found out because Samuel Ross doesn't like follow him on Insta anymore and stuff.
No.
So Samuel Ross might not be a fan of like what he's found out. Someone said, what kind of scamming am I talking about? Just curious. All types of scamming. So like on like Facebook groups, like selling people stuff, like not shipping the stuff, or like buying stuff from people and then saying it didn't come and then getting the money for it. Like even though the stuff clearly came, like all that sort of like scammy stuff. Or there was a time where he had like a release of a brand. Like he had this brand before his like main brand now, and he like almost sold out and like didn't ship anything. So just like kept everyone's money and didn't ship any like garments, which is insane. Like, how did he not get cancelled for that? Like, why do people even still care about his brand?
Isn't that like literally like a
That's
jailable
fraud.
offense? Yeah, literal fraud.
Fraud. Like, you have a brand,
yeah,
people paid for their garments, and then it never came. That is literally fraud. Like,
yeah.
even legally, he's lucky like people haven't taken legal action. Like, I just don't even know why he thinks that he can actually be a design like and be respected with all that stuff that he's done. It's crazy.
Yeah. Again, it just goes it just goes to show there is an underbelly.
Yeah.
Big time. I think there's definitely like a beast in the in the fashion industry, bad actors and whatnot. Like all scenes and industries, you can't avoid it. There's always going to be these horror stories, I find. But I suppose the best thing to do is just like, do you set an example, do your thing.
Yeah, someone said a few years from now he's going to be bigger and be exposed.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I would rather he just doesn't get big in the first place. Wait, did he say do Essence carry Eastwood now? That's crazy. I didn't know that. See, he's already getting big. Like, guys, do not support this guy. He's a scam. Until he pays everyone back and makes amends, don't support him. Because like I have friends, like I have a friend, right, who he scammed for £2,000 when my friend like had no money. Like my friend had no money, so he was like selling his like clothes. And so my friend sold him something for like 2K. And then like he like said it didn't come, like did the whole PayPal thing, got his money back, and had my friend's garments. And my friend was like broke, like he sold his last piece to like make ends meet. And then Eastwood scammed him of that. So like I cannot support him for the life of me, never.
That's
like,
crazy.
It's so mad that like even Essence is like stalking him and stuff. But we'll see, because I have a vested interest in making sure that he's not successful, because I do not want people like that, especially with what he did to my friend. Like it's personal. Like, why do people put someone like that? Like it's even the fact he's carried on Essence is insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I'm so paranoid that will happen to me. Like I don't sell like anything of that value at all. But if it's like over £100, I'm literally setting up my camera, like showing me putting the item in the bag, showing that I've written the address, like film all the way to the post office and showing him that this is it, this is that in the bag. You saw the entire video uncut. Boom. And for what? Like a £50 t-shirt, bro. I would be paranoid, bro. There was no way, no possible way I could have let that go without literally hand delivering it with a film crew behind me.
Yeah,
bro, that's so mental that that's even a thing.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Someone said time to make. I might make a video about him just because I really don't like him. Like I really don't, and I don't. I think he's the only person I don't like in the whole like fashion scene. Because he's so unapologetic about it that it's just like he almost thinks he can get away with it. It's like, do you know who Yolo is from High Fashion Talk?
Yes, I've seen the name thrown around.
Yeah, one of my friends, Yolo, he started this like Facebook group called High Fashion Talk.
Yeah,
and he's also scammed Yolo for some sneakers.
Mad.
Yeah,
bro, that's so bro. Come on,
literally, it's insane,
bro. That's so mad.
Yeah.
I couldn't get into High Fashion Talk. Literally, you have to fill out a questionnaire. You're like, who's your favorite high designer? I was like, I'm done.
You know what? They don't actually care who you write. It's actually just so bots don't
okay.
Go in the group. Because what was happening was bots were going into the group and then just like promoting products and like filling up the whole like timeline with just like promo.
Done that. Okay.
So
maybe I'll try again.
Anything and like
Yeah, I'll try again. I'll just be like, yeah, bro, I love Sicckm8, innit? Sicckm8 is my favorite brand. Come on. Yeah, I just thought that was a funny little anecdote. I literally was like, oh, this is interesting, and then literally this first page, boom, a questionnaire. I was like, no, I was only here to stalk the page, like.
Yeah. Someone said now PayPal always sides with the buyer. So
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I think definitely protect yourself with as much evidence as possible.
yeah.
And again, like, I know it's a bit extra, but like, film stuff where you can, just to prove that like you did what you said you was going to do, and you know, then PayPal will have a case, really.
Like, I understand, like, once again, I don't know if he makes good designs or not, because I just don't like him to the point where even if his stuff is good, I'll just say it's bad, because I just don't like him.
Bro, he wins all these awards. He's like, no, it's still bad. It's still bad.
But yeah, I can understand why like people like his brand, for example. But honestly, like, okay, Keezy said he made a video. Yeah, but Keezy wouldn't know, because like Keezy's not in London, so like he's not around the culture where like he's like scammed everyone. Like, it's common knowledge. Like I said, I was in a group chat and we kicked him out of the group chat because he was scamming everyone. Like, if I was to make an exposed video, I'd literally just call all my friends that he scammed. There's like 10 people. Like, I'm not even joking.
You're gonna do like a content cop on it.
Yeah, there's YOLO that people know who he scammed. There's like other people. There's like one of my really good friends. Like, yo, so many people. I just call them and be like, yo, what has Eastwood done? And let them just talk, and it'll be like a 1 hour video.
You might actually start the trend on having like fashion drama, like fashion YouTube drama.
I didn't want like there to ever be like drama on my channel, but he's the one person where he's so bad. Like, if I was ever to make a video about someone negative, because I never really make negative videos for the most part, I just talk about designers and like what they do that's good. But with Eastwood, yeah, I just can't respect it.
No, that makes sense, man. Makes sense. I remember, I know this like pales in comparison, but just a little anecdote while you look at the comments. Like, this happens all the time on Depop, like scammers on Depop, and they try in all these different ways. I remember one time, luckily I send everything tracked, like literally everything's got a tracking number, and I can see everything from my end. This one guy bought like a jumper off me ages ago, like 6 months ago, and literally pops up 6 months later, and he says, that jumper never came, by the way. So out of pure principle, I literally dug through my bag of like post office receipts from like months and months ago, typed in the code, and he signed for it literally like the day after I sent it, sent him the evidence, and he just blocked me. And it's just like, bro, people just try it. They will try their luck, and they'll just have no remorse whatsoever. But if you're adamant enough, you'll get to the bottom of it. Do you know what I mean? So the truth always prevails.
It's funny though, like someone said Vivendi and Eastwood same type of breed. Yeah, that's true, because Vivendi is like a group of like Nigerian guys who like same thing. They like scam people, don't ship stuff. Yeah, people pay for stuff. Like, people like complain and they just ignore people's messages, type of thing. That's the problem, because all these guys, they think they're going to be like the next Virgil Abloh. Yeah. And they think they're going to be like the next big thing in fashion, but they don't conduct business like someone that's actually going to make it big. Like, imagine like, people like were buying Kiko Kostanov garments and it wasn't being shipped. Yeah. Like, over and over and over again. Eventually, like, people just be like, this guy's a scammer, and like it wouldn't go so far. Yeah, that's crazy. Like, I don't know. I've had a similar situation. I've never spoken about it publicly. It doesn't, it's minor, but I ordered. Have you heard of the brand Vision by Joy? He's like friends with Ian Connor and all that shit. I'm not sure. I might have seen like some of the pieces. Yeah, I think he recently done a T-shirt with like Born from Pain, and he put like the Pokemon Mew on a T-shirt or a hoodie or whatever. Long story short, he done these runs of like Brad Pitt on a jumper, that kind of thing, and it was like, at the time it was really cool, like back in November or September, wherever, 2019. And he done like a restock. So I was like, oh cool, I'm gonna get that. How much is it? Like £150. All right, cool. I'll spend that money, because it says like shipping's gonna be between 2 to 3 weeks. November 2019, I have still not gotten that jumper. And what they did is they sent this
mass email to like everyone who ordered a jumper in November.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, sorry guys, like production's really slow," or I don't know. We've got problems with production.
Slow, gee.
Yeah, and there was like, okay, everyone's gonna get like a free sample T-shirt and all that shit. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Like he sent that like in January, and I was like, all right, I'll just like hold on a little bit. Maybe it is just like an honest misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Like fast forward to now, that like because he put everyone in the same email, I literally just get emails every single day of people talking to each other like, have you got your knit yet? No. Oh, Joy's a scammer, he's scamming us. And it's like literally it's turned into a group chat through email. And it's yeah, look, like in your comments, like I ordered mine in November. Yeah, I ordered mine as well. Like it just never came, and I don't think it's ever gonna come. Like people put on their like DMs from Joy as well, and like, yo, what's happening with the knits? And he's like, oh yeah, like basically our factory wants more money, and we don't want to change factories because it's going to cost us like $4,000 or something like that. So so we're just gonna wait until the knits can be made. It's like November, big man. November. It's been like what? How many months is that? I'm bad at maths. November, December, January, February, March.
Customer service works. If you can't fulfill what your promise is, you refund people.
Yeah,
that's like how you conduct business. Like if you tell people things are going to be shipped in a month, and then you can't ship something for a month for whatever reason it is. Customer service, you send a refund. Max, you'll be like, okay, sorry guys, let's extend it for 2 months.
Yeah.
But when it's like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like bro, just send everyone refunds.
Yeah, big time. Like I don't know, for some reason, like because they're on this, you know, kind of pedestal, they've just got like a group of people that they're just like, oh yo, just wait, man, just let them do their thing. They're like busy guys or whatever. But they're still selling stuff, and they're still like, you know, they carry on with their most recent collections. You know, they've put the Brad knit or the Brad print on a T-shirt and sold that and made loads of money off that. But you know, all you have to do is just make the knits. Like even if you lose a little bit of money, like all the money that you've made by being a somewhat successful brand, you know, you can take the hit, right? You know what I mean? Just to keep your customers happy, you know, because this experience has kind of put me off supporting them as a brand. And, you know, I could have been a repeat customer that comes in time and time again and give them thousands of pounds. But, you know, they've lost that with me and at least 200 other people. So it's a bit madness.
Yeah, he said the thing with those type of kids is they blow all the money so they can't refund. But that's mad, because if you're conducting a business, that's just crazy. Like, for example, I'm releasing a magazine soon. Like if I can't afford to like pay for everything up front, I'll just do pre-orders. But like with pre-orders, if I say it's going to be shipped in November, it has to be shipped in November. And if it isn't, I have to give everyone their money back. That's how you conduct business. You can't just like hold on to people's money, blow the money, not have a plan on how you're going to get the product to people and just like keep it. That is just not how you run a business. That's just not how you do things. Yeah. It's like, I just don't get why anyone does that.
Yeah, it's a shame as well, because it kind of like it puts you a little bit more on edge and reluctant to support like similar sized brands, like up and coming brands, because you're just like afraid that it will just happen again and again. You just keep getting scammed by these kids. So it puts a bit of a downer on the whole situation. But I don't know.
It's just like when you do pre-orders, another thing is like, why would you spend that money? Like when you haven't fulfilled the order, why would you spend it on something else? That's just insane. That's man, fashion kids these days.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a certain arrogance to it as well. It's like because nobody really holds them accountable because they're on a certain level that like if anyone tries to call them out on it, they can just like bury it. Do you know what I mean? Just like bury the whole thing and just be like, oh, I'm gonna listen to you. I'm up here, you're down here. You can't touch me. I can keep your money. That's it.
Right.
So I think there's a bit of that mentality, but at the same time, I mean, it would just come back and bite them in the ass one way or another. They'll scam the wrong people one day, and that'll be it.
Right.
So,
That's the thing, because you also don't know who you're scamming. Because one of the guys who you're scamming could be some like next gang member who's like, yo, I fuck with these.
Yeah.
And like you're scamming actual gangsters.
Yeah.
That's good luck with that.
Yeah, bro. Oh man. That's why I like to be squeaky
Scamming
clean.
lawyers, scamming flipping lawyers, like scamming cops, like yo, you never know who you're scamming. Like that's another thing.
So it just, I don't know. It unfortunately, like, a few bad actors can potentially put the whole scene in a bad light.
Right.
But then every so often, I suppose it's like, you know, scamming 101. But like at first I was a bit reluctant to buy the knit, just because it was like, well, hang on a minute, like it's suddenly back in stock and all that shit.
Yeah.
But then they like show Instagram stories of like everyone who got their orders. I'm just like,
wow.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there like, okay, maybe it's okay. And then boom, and then 6 months later, I'm sitting there like, oh man, I should have just gone with my gut and just like, you know, not spend £150 on potentially a scam.
Yeah. But anyway, away from scamming kids, because we touched on it, the whole reason why we started talking about this because someone asked me about my thoughts on Eastwood Dancer, so I just had to go in on him.
Bro, it went further back than that. Yeah. We were talking about minimal, and then that just kicked everything. Just hijacked the stream. I'm not complaining, because I find it very entertaining.
Yeah. People need to know that I thought it was good for me to talk about Eastwood, because like, I don't agree with cancel culture. Like someone said I shouldn't make the video. That is true, because I feel like people change, and I feel like it's not good to just like cancel someone, because like Eastwood can change. I'm not saying he hasn't changed, but I'm just saying that whether he's changed or not, he's rich. Samuel Ross gave him 200K, but there's still people out there who every day ask for the money back, and he ignores them. So I can't respect what he does, because if he's truly changed, with all the money he has, he can afford to pay my friend 2K when someone gave him like 200K. So literally, he's being stocked on essence. So you can afford to give someone who you scammed 2K. So that doesn't, him not paying them back and like obviously ignoring my friends just shows that he hasn't changed. So in that case, I don't want him cancelled, because like he could change, but for now, just like I'm not personally going to support him. Like other people can, but I just won't. Like me personally as a person.
Yeah.
But yeah, going into like something more important. Where would you say are like the best places to thrift? Obviously, like we're in lockdown and stuff, but like in England, where are like your spots to thrift?
Okay, so I would say, I mean, a lot of people ask me like where to thrift in London, and I like people like I get a bit confused, because like people assume thrifting is just vintage shopping, and it's not. Like in the community, thrifting is literally going to a charity shop or going to like a Goodwill or a Salvation Army, and literally doing the act of actually like treasure hunting, like actually seeking out pieces. But some people talk about thrifting in a sense that like what vintage stores are good, which is also okay. You know, it's just a bit of miscommunication.
Yeah.
But in London, I would say if you actually want to go thrifting, I think there's a lot of like good car boot sales. I think PAQ did this car boot sale. I forgot where it was, but it's somewhere in like behind a school or something.
Okay.
But, yeah, all car boot sales are good, just because, you know, people just wouldn't donate these to charity. They just want money for it. So a quick buck or whatever. So car boot sales all the time, wherever you can find them. Charity shops, literally every single charity shop. Doesn't matter if you haven't found a piece in a month or two, just keep going in the same ones, keep checking them. I'd say somewhat kilo sales. I generally don't advise kilo sales, just because it's literally just wholesalers reject stock that just gets sent to kilo. Whatever rocket vintage don't buy ends up in a kilo sale. So but sometimes they miss pieces, because you never know who the buyer is. So it might be worth going to those. So those are the three big ones in the UK. It's quite limited, because thrift culture hasn't really taken off here. so to speak. Whereas in the States, where you can get
compared
like
to America,
like an Asda-sized thrift store, which is insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's other ways to thrift rather than just those examples. You can do it online, find steals on like Depop and eBay. I've personally found some vintage t-shirts for like £10, and they're worth like anywhere between 50 to 100. So that's like a quick flip. Also, people like to sell their collection. So if you just like ask people like, oh, have you got anything going? Like what's up in your attic and whatever. That's a little bit like more like taking a punt, I suppose, but it's worth kind of just asking around, you know, if anyone's got any clothes or any vintage clothes lying around that they want to sell. So yeah, there's a few ways to go about it. But the best way is just go to the States and just like go Salvation Army and Goodwill. I can't wait to do that. But yeah,
like Americans don't know how like good they have it thrift wise.
Oh, big time.
Like, they thrift some crazy stuff. But what is your thoughts on, because like I'm like trying to get into thrifting once like the quarantine is up, because like I've seen some people pick up some really cool stuff. People say like Brick Lane area and like Shoreditch is really good for thrifting. Like, is that true?
Like vintage shopping or like charity shops?
Just like vintage shopping in general.
Okay, so I've Brick Lane as a vintage sort of area is, you know, it's a hot spot, definitely. There's a few shops that I recommend. One's called 194 Local, and like basically they stock a lot of like American vintage type stuff. Mostly like skatewear brands, but I think I bought like a vintage Prada backpack there for like £200, whereas like brand new retail's like over £1,000, which is crazy. So stores like that are quite good. You just have to sort of peek your head into every shop on Brick Lane, because they're more or less all vintage stores, and they're all like a certain sector of vintage, because you've got the more mainstream ones that stock your general like American sports teams vintage and like Carhartt jackets and dungarees and whatnot, and then you've got the more curated ones that deal with like high-end brands or like vintage high-end brands. So it's definitely worth having a look if you've got like a spare half a day or whatever. So it's also a good day out as well. So yes, definitely Brick Lane is worth your time.
Okay, I'll check it out, because there's just so many shops. Like when I go to Brick Lane, I'm just like, where do I even start? Like which shop is for what?
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy.
So many. Yeah,
it can be a bit jarring, just because most of the shops are particularly going after like your like tourist consumers kind of thing, where like, oh, you know, here are some cool festival like shirts and shit like that, or here are some cool Burberry trench coats, etc., etc. But I think as soon as you sort of, you know, spend a couple of trips, you'll soon identify what curated stores are stocking what. Again, I would say a solid pick on your first trip would be 194 Local.
Right, I'll write that down.
Yeah, check them out. They're really easy to find. I think if you take a shortcut from the football pitches outside Shoreditch High Street Station.
Oh yeah, I know that place.
Yeah, literally just go all the way, and that store is literally on the other side of those doors. So
oh shit,
it's right there. They're really cool guys. They do buy sell trade as well. So
wait, so that's the other direction. That's like towards like Box Park side. Because, you know, like with the train station, if you turn right, that's Brick Lane, and if you turn left, that's like Box Park.
Oh yeah. So you're coming away from Box Park. So you go through the football pitches into the other side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's just over there. Also, I've got to shout out 99 Vintage as well. If you've got a spare day, like if you've got a weekend or whatever, they're open like 7 days a week. They're insane.
Oh, shit.
And they're like a really good vintage store as well. So they're located in Winchester, which I believe is kind of near London. It's closer to London than I am. So just take like the train up there or the bus, and they stock a lot of like old school, well, everything really, like movie t-shirts, like
that's
old
dope.
School, like old school Tommy Hilfiger or Ralph Lauren, blah blah blah. They do a bit of everything, and they're really good stores. Their prices are quite fair too. And again, it's buy sell trade. So if you've got anything you want to you know, trade for store credit or whatever. It's all there.
Yeah. But what do you feel about, like, because now people are starting to like clock onto vintage.
Mm-hmm.
So like now, like I see someone commented that in the comments, like the prices of a lot of vintage pieces recently have been so expensive because people are starting to like figure out the actual value of like the stuff they have.
I think that would have happened anyway, I suppose. Like, it only takes like 5 seconds of research to know how much a piece is worth. In terms of like to gauge how much it's worth on the market. I do think thrifting and vintage has become more popular in recent times for whatever reason. But I think the pricing of vintage clothes and thrifted clothes will always be down to the seller. It's whether how much research they want to do. For example, I've got a piece called a Ralph Lauren P-Wing that I thrifted for £1. And
damn,
at this, it's madness. Like at the time, I wouldn't have done any research whatsoever, and I just would have put it on my Depop page for £20, and that would have been the end of it. Whereas I, like, by dumb luck, I just kind of held on to it, and it wasn't until I saw a post on round 2 of the exact same P-Wing, and it's like, boom, Ralph Lauren P-Wing, like $500, $600, etc., etc. And I was like, wait, I've got one of those just by luck. And then from that point onwards, I have always checked how much my items are going for, or saw kind of like a ballpark like figure, because you just have to do your research. Otherwise, you will just screw yourself over.
Right. Damn, that's great. It's just because before you could just go into like thrift stores and find some like insane stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be all the same price. Like if everything's £2, everything's £2.
Yeah.
Like from the jackets to like socks. But now you go in there and they actually know. Like you'll see a Burberry trench, they'll like be selling it for like £90, like a vintage trench.
I think it depends who the manager is, man. Because like none of these charity shops or thrift stores are like centralized. It's literally like just slap on the price how much you think it's worth. I've seen very similar things, but it's weird because I've seen like a Prada Sport polo go for like £2, but like the exact same, a Nike polo right next to it for like £10. So it really depends on like who the manager is and what they're pricing it as. So I wouldn't say that there's any counter for that or any way to combat that. It's literally just like an added factor of luck when it comes to thrifting.
Someone said thrifting in Japan seems like it does, because the type of things that I see people get in Japan is insane. It's
a lot of like Asian countries where thrifting hasn't like taken off. Their thrift stores are insane because people like don't really care about vintage clothes and they just like donate whatever. And you'll find some proper grails in places that you wouldn't even think of, really, like Thailand, like most of the Eastern Bloc as well. Like all their charity shops are just filled with grails that nobody would ever touch because thrifting isn't a thing. So it's definitely worth traveling and just, you know, if you're on holiday or whatever, just like poke your head in a store and see what happens.
I literally have friends who's like their full-time job is just to go to Japan, buy as much like grails as they can find for the low, like thrifting, and then come back to England and just like sell it all on grailed for like higher prices, and they make a killing doing that.
Bro, that's insane.
Like
that's
as a full-time job. They just go to Japan like every 6 months, do the whole thing, like just go thrifting, and then come back to England and just make bank. Like they go with like 3 empty suitcases.
Yeah, bro, that's what I would do. If I ever go to America, I'll bring an empty suitcase. It makes so much sense because the supply and demand in the UK for vintage is so like out of proportion because that the UK is after so much, like for example, American vintage, Japanese vintage, and all of that. But you can never really find it here. Like the most sort of like sought after item you can only get from the UK is more like UK fashion houses like Burberry. But I see a lot of like old school Marks and Spencer stuff, and you know, like all that shit. And it's just weird because like it really goes to show that the pieces that you find are relative to the area that you're in. Another sort of like thrifting tip that everyone likes to throw around is check what area you're in. If you're in a more affluent area or a wealthier area, the chances are that the charity shops are going to be stocked with more like higher brands. And you know, it's there's a lot of like moving parts if you want to track down the analytics of thrifting.
Yeah.
But you know, it's always worth keeping little bits of information on you while you kind of trying to like route where to go and what to find, etc.
Yeah, like you said, literally Silver League and archive stores based off finding cheap stuff in Japan. Yeah, exactly. I have other friends who like that. I won't like bait out where they get their stuff from because obviously that would like mess up the whole business. But like partially what they do is like buy stuff from Japan. And like Yahoo Japan auctions as well, which is so funny because it's like the stuff that people buy on Grailed for these like really high prices. It's like you could have just gone on Yahoo Japan auctions and literally bought it for like a fourth of the price.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they just don't know or they just can't be bothered to like obviously like just actually search for really good prices on YJP.
Yeah. I think it's a really like YJP is a really like up and coming thing at the moment. Like not a lot of people know to use it and it's a bit of a meme. So now is probably the best time to get on it and learn it. So
yeah, because it's like there's like tiers to like prices. So if you go to Japan itself, the price will be the least, and then obviously on YJP it's still cheap, like comparative, but like they charge a premium on it, of course. And then of course when it comes to like buying stuff on Grailed, then now you're buying it for like insanely expensive prices.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like how it goes. Someone said YJP is expensive. It's expensive relative to like if you just went to Japan and thrifted it for like £10, but it's still not that expensive compared to like buying it off Grailed. Like when people bring it, once someone brings it back to like America or the UK or anywhere in like Europe, bro, the premium they charge is insane.
I was gonna say, have you bought anything from YJP?
No, only because I'm too like tall for most of the stuff. Because their stuff is like in mainly you'll find like things in a Japan 1, 2, and maybe a 3. But like my size is a Japanese 5, which is really rare.
Oh wow.
But I see stuff there all the time. Sometimes I just go to look, and like I'll tell one of my friends who I think is like interested, and then they'll like win the auction.
Oh, that's insane. That's so cool.
Everybody's saying, not surprising that Japan is more expensive. Fashion has been big there for a while compared to other countries. That's true. Yeah, this is also true. People are scared of shipping rates, but don't realize how much stuff they could get for cheap. That's also very true. And you can also, you just need to get a proxy. That's how you save money on like shipping rates and of course like import duties and shit like that. He said Japanese 5. I've never heard of that. Exactly.
Like an urban legend, right? Like, bro.
Exactly. It's such a rare size. Like when I go to stores and I like, that's why like I don't wear a lot of like Issey Miyake and brands like that, because I'll go into like a store and I'll be like, what's the biggest size of trousers you have? And they'll be like, we have a 4. It's definitely going to fit you. I'm like, I have long ass legs like a flipping spider. Like it's not going to be long enough. And then they'll be like, no, trust me, 4 is a very long size. I'm like, okay. And then I wear it and it's like almost to my knees. And I'm like, I told you.
It's like, oh no, don't worry. The style was cropped.
It's cropped.
Bro. No, that's crazy, man. I suppose though, it's like, you know, tall people problems, isn't it? You can put you can put your height in your Twitter bio, but you can't shop in Issey Miyake. So.
That's the thing. If the perfect height for fashion, I think, is like 5'11". So like still tallish, but you can like fit in stuff.
Yeah.
Like once you start going into territory of like 6'2", like I know someone like Michael Tandy, he's another YouTuber. Everyone, by the way, go subscribe to Michael Tandy's channel. I'll like put it in the comment section. But basically he's like 6'5", and I'm just like, damn, like I struggle to find clothes, but being 6'5", like geez, how the hell do you find clothing?
That's insane. I'm on the complete other end of the spectrum though, man. I find everything is too big for me. You know what I mean? Like literally, I feel like a baby. Do you know what I mean? And, like it's weird, yeah, because I'm all about this. Oh yeah, baggy boys for life, yeah, like da. But like that, it's weird because a large T-shirt on me is super baggy when really, like in an ideal world, I should be wearing like small to medium.
Yeah.
Which I completely rebel against the idea. I have no idea why. I think it's just like some form of little man syndrome. But like, I was like, no, I wear a large. Yeah, I can fit in a large. I don't know. I just, I have the complete opposite problem.
The only thing is that like, the thing about being small though, like things being too big, the good thing is you can tailor things. Yeah. So like, say you buy trousers that are too big, you can take it to a tailor and get it like smaller and get it like hemmed. But if you're too tall, there's nothing, you can't like add extra fabric. You can't like elongate the trousers.
Bro. I'm just picturing it in my head now, like those trousers or something. Just like add. Just
expanding the trousers.
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
Oh my. Someone said high fashion models are 6'2". So it depends on proportions though. So like I'm 6'3", which isn't too much taller than like most models. But the issue is I have insanely long legs and then insanely long arms and then a tiny torso. Whereas like models are like good proportion. So like most models, their inseam, even though they're 6'2", is like 32 to 34, which most brands do a 32 to 34 inseam. But my inseam is 36 inches. You can't find that anywhere, even though like we're similar heights. And then also my arm length is really long. So even though like I'm not that much taller than them, most jackets aren't made for like people with crazy ass basketball ass long arms like me. So you'll see like jackets will like be like here on my sleeves. So it's just messed up.
That's crazy, man.
What do you say? Thoughts on Ken? Are you aware of this? Do you watch Ken's channel?
I haven't like fully gone in, but I'm aware of him. But I haven't heard of this. What's this about?
He it's so unfortunate. So he has like some really expensive garments. Like he has like had the Raf Simons riot bomber.
Yeah.
And like a lot of like other really ultra expensive like grails. So I think he let his friend like borrow some of the garments, and his friend, which I still don't understand to this day. First of all, people knew his friend was traveling because his friend, I think, posted it on social media like, I'm going so and so place. Secondly, if you like have expensive garments, please, for the love of me, do not put it in a Rimowa suitcase. Like that is just like asking, because Rimowa suitcases, like especially the one he had, was like 1,000. It cost like 1K. So you know, like all these customs guys who like break into people's suitcases, they're obviously going to Target. They know what a Rimowa is. Obviously, they work in airports.
Bro.
So the first L was like putting expensive garments in an expensive suitcase. And then the fact is, for some reason, his friend didn't have it in his hand luggage. Because it's a jacket, like they're clothes. You can put them in hand luggage. Like, why did you put it in a suitcase? And then also, why didn't you just wear it? Like, if I had expensive things that expensive, like 40K, 30K jackets, I would wear it. Like, I don't care if it's hot outside. I'm wearing that shit on the plane.
Bro, that's so unfortunate as well. But surely, how many riot bombers do you think are around?
Not many.
So
the fact that like that's why I said like people should notice like whenever that riot bomber appears, because whoever stole it at some point is going to be somewhere. He's going to try to sell it on Grailed or somewhere, or sell it to someone, and it should like flag up, because there's not that many riot bombers in circulation anyway.
Yeah, that's, I don't know. It's just a very unfortunate situation. It's one of those like, it's just one of those cautionary tales where you can't have nice things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, just like people who target nice suitcases is, you know, oh man, you shouldn't even have to worry about that stuff. You know what I mean? It's crazy. But just like from now on, if I ever have anything expensive in my suitcase, I'm just putting it in a bin bag and literally just handing that over to like baggage claim.
I deliberately have like an Amazon suitcase, and I did it deliberately because like I know that they target like and people have broken into my suitcases before. Oh, so wow. I know that like if I have an Amazon suitcase, they're just going to be like, nah, he can't be that rich, because, or you can't have expensive stuff in there because it's an Amazon suitcase. So that's like my way. But even then, I'm still paranoid. Like anything expensive I take with me, like hand luggage.
Yeah. I think you need to put some like low-key Supreme stickers or something on it, or like just put some low-key stickers of some like proper outdated brands, and just be like, oh, I ain't gonna touch this. What's Obey? Boom. Yeah.
Someone said apparently Ken is balling, but that's not the point though, because first of all, like as a friend, if someone gives you something worth 30k, I don't care if they're a millionaire, you have to treat it with care. Especially if like you can't afford to just like pay for it. So especially if you can't afford to, like, if you've lost the stuff, like just pay him the 40k, then you have to handle your friend's stuff with care. Just because your friend is rich doesn't mean, yeah, I'm just going to treat his garments like however I wish, because, well, he has money, so who cares? That's not like how you handle other people's property. This is another thing, because they said, imagine if someone stole the suitcase looking for electronics and stuff, and they threw out the jacket because they thought it was ugly and worth.
No.
That's almost a possibility as well, because think about it, it was a Rimowa suitcase. So they would have thought, okay, this is a Rimowa, we can get something expensive, let's take this suitcase. And then they found just clothes, not knowing that, yo, that's a RAF riot bomber. So now there's just a RAF riot bomber just in some landfill somewhere.
I tell you what, this is a YouTube video idea. Like, it's going to be like top 10 suitcases to travel with. And literally will be like, number 1 would be like a trunkie.
Yeah.
Have you seen trunkies?
Yeah.
They're like the best suitcases ever. Bro. Yeah. So honestly, where there are problems, there are solutions. So
Someone literally said, I lock my suitcases. Let me just tell you now, that does not mean anything. They steal like suitcases, like they break into people's suitcases. Like locking it is not going to make a difference. Trust me.
Yeah, it's insane how people can get away with it though, because surely there are not that many suitcase like holders in an airport, right? I mean, like, it's just like one airplane at a time. I don't know. Like, I don't really want to sort of like sit here and claim I know anything, but surely like there's not that many suspects when it comes to like missing luggage or something. I don't know.
Wait, what did he say? He lost something in the episode and gained another. Don't remember it well. Just scared as hell playing the horror games. He lost, like, it wasn't just a riot bomber. It was also like a Raf Simons knit, and then there was 3 pieces that were really expensive. So yeah, it's that shit's unfortunate, man. But that's why I wouldn't trust my friends with something that expensive. Like a 30k jacket, no way. Like literally no way.
Yeah. No, that's crazy.
Like I do the opposite. I buy the cheapest suitcase on the market, so I'm not a target. Like that's the same. That's how I am in life though. Like if I was a billionaire, I would not buy a Bentley. I feel like if you buy a Bentley, like driving around in a Bentley, you're just a target. Like people are like, that guy has a Bentley, let's follow him and see where he lives. Next thing, people are like robbing you at gunpoint.
Yeah,
like no way. I'm buying a Ford like Fiesta.
Like from a second-hand garage and everything, like like the 1999 version in like a really shitty green. Yeah, it's crazy.
Wait,
I mean,
he said, check your messages, by the way. Yeah. What did he say? It helped him by losing it. 2 reasons. First off, making the video on the jacket is one of the highest viewed videos, which helped the channel. Second, he lost it, so now we're talking about it. I guess so, but I mean, the views will not add up to 30K. Like the whole, whatever he gains comparatively won't add up to the value of 30K.
I mean, it depends. How many views did the video get of him losing it?
Let's see. Let's have a look. I'm actually curious because I watched it like when he first dropped it, so I didn't even know it got like that many views. Let's see. So it got 50K views.
Oh yeah, no, that's not worth it in the slightest.
50K views, you're earning like $200 from that maximum.
Yeah, big time.
So
I was thinking more of the exposure side of things, but if it didn't get that much reach anyway, then yeah, it's just it's an L.
Yeah,
definitely an L.
What do you say? I think Ken was a bit short-sighted in not insuring his wardrobe. Yeah, that's true. But then he left it in his friends. Like, to be fair, Ken shouldn't have gotten insurance because it's just as easy as just putting it in your hand luggage. I don't think he thought his friend would be that careless. Like, how can you be so careless to have something that expensive just in your suitcase when there's hand luggage? You could have worn it. Like, what the hell? And that, like, when he released the video, it's not like it was like hot weather. It was like before, like a month ago. So it's not like it was like blazing outside that you couldn't wear the jacket.
I think I remember someone talking about this in the other stream where like, because I remember you talking about this in one of your other streams, and then it was just like, it appeared in Drake's video.
Yeah.
Literally like a little bit later.
Shortly after, Drake was wearing a riot bomber in his video. Maybe Drake's stylist stole Ken's like jacket.
Bro, I mean, anything's possible, man. Stranger things have happened. That's, bro.
Oh my god. But I guess I know where Keys is coming from because he said he got 90K. Where we can say maybe it worked is that ultimately Ken, like, he has a really successful brand, like money-wise, like it does really high numbers. So I guess the views does mean more than just like AdSense, because obviously if he's getting 50K views, that's like 50K people that will see him say something about Vuja Day who might check out the brand, and then he's going to get way more money that way. So I guess indirectly it will make him more money, but like directly though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was like 40K worth of garments. Like, geez, that's like my rent for like 2 years.
Yeah. Bro, that's
seriously, that's insane.
That's a full deposit on a house, man.
That's literally insane. My university accommodation 3 years in a row, and I have 10K to spare. Bro, like, what? That's insane.
Oh, that's crazy.
Like, when you actually think of it that way.
OVO goon stole it.
Someone said it's still a big L if he has a mini reviews. I agree. Because he said $40,000 for 90K views. Yeah, but I also agree with like Keezy, because obviously like indirectly, because my guy's brand definitely made more than 100K. That's a fact. So indirectly, he said 40K is a used Prius.
Bro.
Oh my. This guy said it's clothing at the end of the day. They're bigger things. I guess so, but it's the value of the clothing, because 40K is not just like, yeah, it's just 40K. There's other things. So when you think of the like monetary value of the clothing, yo, 40K. Like, I'm just thinking of what I could do with 40K. I could pay my university tuition for 3 years straight. Like, I only have my university tuition for like first year sorted. You know, like second year and third year, I'm still in my head like, how am I going to pay for this? So if someone gave me like 40K, bro, what? That's insane. Like, 40K would pay my rent for 2 years. 40K, like, it's not just some like thing. You're just like, yeah, it's just 40K. What? Yeah. Like, that is a lot of money. Not even if you're rich. Like, that is crazy. Wait, what do you say?
Yeah.
What if he just sold it and said it got stolen for clout? That would be a 200 IQ move. It would.
Yeah.
It. I doubt that's the case. I don't think
Bro,
Ken is that type of person.
conspiracy
But
theory. He sold it to Drake Stylist. That's the conspiracy theory.
if he came out like a year later and he was like, guys, it was just like a publicity stunt, like I actually sold it to Drake, I would make a video on like how he's a genius. Like how he's a marketing genius. Because like literally, that's literally what everyone is talking about. What did someone say? This story sounds too sus. His friend is giving me backstabbing vibes. I would be on the die hard mode if I found out I owned a riot bomber and was stolen. Yeah, I don't think that could ever happen to me because I don't think I would give my friend a riot bomber in the first place to just like be traveling around with.
It's just the piece in general, though. It's such a limited piece that I don't think you could even get away with it.
Yeah.
You know? If there's one circulating in like a 50-mile radius of you, it's like, yeah, you know exactly who stole it and where it came from.
Yeah.
So it would be really hard to shift without anyone noticing.
Yeah. Yeah. People like what we're talking about. So Ken, a YouTuber who talks about Japanese fashion, his friend lost some of his ultra expensive clothing, like 50K worth of clothing, like 40 to 50K. So we should just ask Drake's stylist where they got the jacket from.
Do our own investigation.
Oh my God. Yeah, he said 40K is a down payment on a mortgage. Let them know. Like 40K is not some like throwaway money. I've never made 40K in a calendar year in my entire life since I was born. So for me, 40K is a lot of money. Maybe for some rich kids it isn't, but for me, what do you say? Ken bought a 3K LV soft trunk because he couldn't find any other bag to store some snacks. Yeah, maybe to him it isn't that much, but he must still be pissed because it's not just about money with things like that. It's also like how rare it is. Yeah. Like actually just like finding it in your size to someone who is even willing to sell it in the first place. Mm-hmm. That's difficult in and of itself. He said 40K is the median wage in the UK. Fact. Like 40K, like guys are like, yo, that is so much money. You could buy a red camera with 40K and have change.
I can't even imagine dropping 40K on anything, really. Yeah, I'd be so hesitant.
On a one piece, never. Yeah. Like until I'm a millionaire, I'm never dropping 40K on one item of clothing. There's just more important things I can spend 40K on, like a mortgage. Mm-hmm. Like it just makes no sense at my tax bracket to spend 40K on one garment.
Yeah.
But obviously, Ken is probably like Guy said. Ken probably has money, so obviously, he can do what he wants. But he must still be pissed, no matter how rich he is, on like someone losing that much. Yeah, someone said 40 racks because the thing about the riot bomber is it's not worth that. It's just the hype that has made it worth that. Like if you bought it when it came out, you would have bought it for retail at like 1K or however much it cost when it was retail, so 800 max. But obviously, because people decide, like obviously, it's hyped, it's like an iconic collection. It just goes up and up and up and up. Mm-hmm. Wait, hold on. He said, "You'd have to see me if you lost that much of my money. You'd have to throw hands." Oh my, that's hilarious. Yeah, I can't imagine losing that because I can't even imagine spending that much money on like anything other than a house, something to do with a house. Yeah. So, yeah. Wait, someone said it retailed for 50 euros. Oh shit!
Surely not. Come on. I
mean, what?
When did it come out? How long ago?
The bomber went on a sales rack. Oh shit! Wait, a guy's actually being serious? I thought it would have retailed for like a high-end retail price of like 800.
Yeah.
What the hell? Wow. So guys said the bomber went on sale after it was released. Yeah, exactly. So imagine what hype can do. So because people hype up the piece, it's all of a sudden worth. I don't know. I just like with me in fashion, like how I see fashion is like there's things that are like they have a place in like history, and I get why it's expensive because it's like really iconic. But I would never spend my money on that because Raf makes things just as good now. But like people are just so fixated on the past that like in 10 years from now, what he's making now will probably be the same thing. So I'll rather just buy what's like actually worth the money, like retail prices or less than like spending some crazy price.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Someone's at my door. I need to like get my order real quick.
The only Ken I know is Ken Kyle. Hi, Ken. What's going on?
Man came through with the 20-piece chicken wing
meal
deal.
Nice.
What did I miss?
There's more talk about the bomber.
What did they say? They wonder if Ken is still friends with him. Probably not. Actually, maybe. I think it seemed to me like Ken wasn't too bothered, to be fair. I can't wait till I'm that rich. That like I lose something worth 40K and I don't even care. My God, that must be good.
Yeah. Bro. Oh man. Like I love it because obviously like Ken Kyle isn't my real name, but whenever I get like a business email, they always start with, "Oh, hi Ken." I don't ever correct anyone just because I think it's hilarious, and like I just through the entire campaign, it's how you doing, Ken? Hope you're having a good day. And I'm just like just laughing to myself. It never gets old, bro.
Yo, these guys said, "What if Eastwood Dancer has the riot bomber?" Plot twist. Plot twist. Eastwood Dancer is so skilled at scamming, he probably has it. He's probably called some of his guys in Japan, like, "Yo, like this guy's traveling with a riot bomber. I need you to rob him quickly, and we're gonna sell that bomber and split the profits. And then when they sell it, he's gonna take all the money for himself and like not split the profits."
He sold it to Drake's stylist.
Exactly.
He put all the conspiracy theories together. That's what happened. Easy.
I don't know. Until Ken says, I don't know. But all I know is it depends what type of consultancy, because I know like medical consultants, for example, make millions. Psychologists who do consultancy make millions. Even midwives who like make who are consultants make insane money. So I don't know what type of consultant, especially financial consultants as well, make like loads of money. So I don't think it's his parents personally. I think it might just be him. He just makes that money. Like not everyone that's like rich in the fashion scene has like rich parents who like endorse them.
Bro, Minimal has the bomber to make a 1-to-1 in the factory. We'll just add to this massive conspiracy theory. That's another video idea. What happened to Ken's bomber? A thread.
See, he's a financial consultant, exactly. So he must be rich. Because financial consultants help people manage their money, especially rich people. So they get paid loads of money. Like if he's a financial consultant, that means he knows the best ways to invest money because he's helping people invest their money. So yes, he might spend 40K on like a jacket, but we don't know what type of investments he's making and earning millions. So
that's a meta job if you really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you make money by telling people what to do with their money.
Yeah,
that's a bit like that's trippy when you really think about it in a way.
And yeah, it's like he does other stuff. Like obviously his brand is really successful as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting because if he makes a lot of money being a consultant, then it's like, isn't his time, like from a financial standpoint, better spent doing consultancy than like working on a brand?
It depends. I think it might be a passion project. It might be something that I like, I don't want to do consultancy all my life. I kind of want to make a brand and do other things.
Right.
Like, or it's just a bit of fun, as it is for like most people that have money. They know just do other things.
Okay, someone said he grew up going to an international school in South Korea. Okay, maybe he is. I don't know. The mystery of Ken's bomber.
How are you telling people to manage their money when you can't even manage your riot jacket? Bro.
Oh my god. Yo,
bro,
shout out to Ken, man. He makes really good videos. But yeah, what happened was just like, nah, that's just crazy.
That's unfortunate for real. That was a send though, for real.
My guy Johnny Kamal sent for Ken. Jeez.
Yeah.
Someone's asking if you have a brand.
I think I've kind of dabbled in like merch, I suppose is the best way to describe it. I just like put some funky graphics on a t-shirt, and it's really weird because when I first did those t-shirts, like I was just happy that I made something with my own graphic on it or my own label on it. And I think the next thing that I want to do would be to like make a brand, as it seems to be the natural progression of a fashion YouTuber anyway.
Right.
But yeah, I want to take it a lot more seriously and really put some thought into like a micro collection, just like a few selected pieces, and maybe even do some cut and sew. I wouldn't like sit here and be like, oh, I'm going to make an actual brand and do cargos and do like a Magnus running or something. But I would definitely like to do something with with a few select pieces. I kind of want to take a t-shirt and not like reinvent it or anything, but just like really play with the idea of an oversized fit. So short answer, I don't have a brand, but I'm really looking into it, I suppose.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I do like everyone is kind of taking that next step and like making their own thing, because like I can't remember who I was watching who was saying it, but like a lot of YouTubers, like we spend all our time promoting all these brands that we like, which is cool, but like also it's good to like at least have your own thing as well, because like we give all these brands that we like free promo, essentially. Like this is promo that they would literally pay for, but we just give it to them for free because we just like the brands or what the brands stand for. Yeah,
it's weird as well because I think a lot of fashion YouTubers, well, they do realize, but I think it's like if you deep it, like they're their own perfect platform for that. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, like you said, like you give promo to brands and talk about brands, and it's all about the brands. When really, you have the perfect platform to launch your own stuff, and I think that's why brands like Bare Knuckles or Magnus's stuff really gets a good push and a good head start, just because you're already like an established, trusted like figure in the industry that it's priceless promo and marketing.
Yeah. Someone said, I've had a brand idea for 3 years, I think 4 now. I remember you saying it. Yep, that's true. However, I still don't know if I'm going to like make it reality. What I'm working on now is obviously the magazine and merch for the magazine. So that's like the immediate thing. Maybe one day if I decide to, make a brand, then I'll whip out all those ideas. But for now, it's just the merch. And the merch is quite easy because it's just like whatever's in the magazine, which will be a lot of different things. I can just reference something in the magazine and make it into a garment form for merch, because that's what merch is. So it's not that complicated. Wait, what do they say? Wait, what are they talking about? If everyone did a Magnus, we'll run out of fashion YouTube. I guess as people leave, there's more new people like me and Bliss and stuff.
Yeah, I think there will always be a new wave. Like there's like eras of fashion YouTubers. Like we were saying earlier, you had like Steve Booker, and then you had, I don't really know anyone from that era really, just Steve Booker.
Yeah.
And then I think Sanj was quite early.
Yeah.
And then you had like the next era of people like me, Chop Suey, Payday Pickups. Who else? Like Jacob, Fernando.
Yeah.
All them like all like sort of rolled around the same time. And now like you guys, like you, Bliss Foster, and others.
Yeah. Someone said, I thought you said you're not a designer. Exactly. Which is why I've had the ideas, but I've never actualized it because I just don't see myself as a designer. And it's just like, I don't know. I'm just not really a designer. I don't see myself as, I'm more of like a journalist type, which is why I don't know. I feel like I would be better off making like a magazine than I would like making a brand, for example. What did this person say? Oh yeah, he's in here. He said he wanted to share some stuff. Yo, what's up?
Oh shit.
Guest appearance.
Oh shit. Just give me a second. Let me get ready. So I was actually going to sleep low.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I didn't expect like this how's this working. But I'm going to CSM this year.
Oh dope. And I'm going to CSM as well. Maybe I'll see you.
Yeah. I'm going this year, and I'm from Taiwan, Asia.
Oh shit, we should link up when you come to London.
Yeah, let me open a little bit brighter. Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay, we can see right now. Basically, I didn't study fashion. I study I'm going to study architecture in CSM. And but I really enjoy into fashion, and then right now I'm trying to create more connection in the fashion industry. With for example, I already have connection in Tokyo, with some people who already work in industry. And also, I don't know, you guys know a fashion YouTuber which called IC.
Oh yeah.
I just linked up with him. Yeah, I just linked up with him recently. And also my friend in Japan, my connection in Japan, he also do YouTube channel which called his name is Gizmo.
Oh, I love Gizmo. He's sick.
Yeah, he's my friend.
I like his style. His style's sick.
Yeah. He's my friend, and then I met him a couple times, and just I try to all the connection I build by myself, and it's kind of I'll say how to say it helps me to to get to know more stuff and then more people, but I would say it doesn't really. It's not that easy to create this connection, but like I just start building it, and then after like I step, like have the first step, and then keep creating, and then
Right.
and then yeah, that's why I have my like those kind of connection right now. And then yeah, I mean, like I really like your channel, like the fashion archive.
Thank you very much, man.
Yeah, I like your channel so much. And then like I think for me, like I did ask them about like what you guys just discussed about the fashion YouTuber.
Yeah.
Like I think most of them, they do realize that no, just like most of them, they doesn't really like film the unique part of the fashion. They just go
Right.
with the, how to say, like what people like right now.
Oh, okay.
And
so what's like
yeah,
popular or mainstream?
Yeah. But I think to do like to talk about those topics, it doesn't really go with the main industry right now. It doesn't really go with the what exactly people need to look out for, like archive, like like the work from the past. And like there are a lot of designers like Hossein Kadian, those kind of like not popular designers.
Yeah.
Like I think it has a lot to talk about, rather than focus on just what popular right now, what people like right now.
Yeah.
That's why I think it was really, oh my god, like I can't, I don't know, I just suddenly I just suddenly like watch you guys like living, so
yeah.
so I joined.
No, that's cool, man. That's cool. It's a democracy on this channel.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's I'm not sure about, I mean I've never been to Europe, so
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of how to say, like it's kind of a different culture for me to explore.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean I really look forward for those kind of like to live in London.
Yeah, London's cool, man. Not now because of the quarantine, but in general,
yeah,
you'll enjoy it. Trust me.
I think yeah, I mean in my country was like, I think my country was one of the city that doesn't really like shut down. Like yeah, my situation was kind of like really nice in my city. So yeah, everything just continue. So it doesn't really bother me a lot. And so what do you guys talk about? Like what do you guys like talk about right now? Like
we just talk about, because obviously the stream is about like obviously man like Sicckm8.
Done there.
So so
yeah, I never saw your saw your channel. Like what channel? He also do fashion channel? Like
yeah, so he focuses. I'll let him talk about it.
Yeah, I focus more on like the vintage and thrifting side of fashion. So like I don't really know much about the industry, so to speak, but it's just more about like a different side of fashion, I suppose, because there is like a whole sub community when it comes to like vintage and thrifting. So my channel mainly revolves around that. And basically just like general fashion nonsense is my specialty.
I like how this guy's wearing a shirt, because they were roasting him in the chat, bro. They're like, this guy
right now it's like
came through topless.
Right now it's like 4 a.m. in my city right now.
Oh wow.
Wait, where are you based? Are you based in Japan?
No, it's close to Japan. It's called Taiwan.
Oh yeah, Taiwan.
Yeah. So I think my country was kind of popular recently because we do like kind of like good preventing for the virus. So but just but I've been to like Japan many times.
Yeah, because I was wondering, because like the connections you had, like Gizmo and stuff, like they're based in Japan. Yeah.
And also like I bet like you guys definitely know like JC Churro.
Yeah.
Like the guy, yeah. So like they, how do you say, like I'm only turning 20 right now, like this year. So
shit.
I mean still I'm still really young. Yeah.
This guy has life figured out, the right connections, everything.
But
he's like 20.
And then so it's kind of hard for like other people to understand like, okay, how you build those kind of connection. And then And then every time I explain, it's like, I just like send some DMs, and then like just ask, and then those people, like, they're really really kind, so they're willing to teach me, to guide me and give me some instruction. And then yeah, like every time I went to Tokyo, like they just show me around, and then they introduce me to maybe like designer from graduate from Futurism. Or
wow.
do you guys know the selecting shop in Japan, which is called Gr8?
I don't, but I think I've heard about it.
Yeah,
I'm not too familiar.
It's one of the biggest shop in selecting shop in Japan, which is made by Kubo. A selecting is a buyer, and like I went in there, and then they also introduced me to what?
Bro, I'm a daydreamer. I'll be sitting there like. With just like the stupidest dead face.
Yeah. But continue what you're saying though.
Yeah. So just like yeah, I get to know like the buyer, like the a lot of like local designers. It just continue like what I just said. Like I know one person, and then they keep introduce me to other people, because like I show my potential. I show like the passion I have. Like to seriously show them about like I'm serious about those kind of stuff, and then I'm not just like those kind of kids just like dressing out like I'm cool or something like that. So yeah, I think that's why they willing to spend time to talk to me, and we teach me something. Like I see kind of like, I would say, okay honestly, like I mean, I just started having connection with him like recently, but just like like he had like a lot of people talk about like if he's a good like fashion YouTuber or not,
right?
Because I would say
what's your opinion?
Really seriously, like I heard a lot of different rumors
right,
about like there's a positives like rumors, and then also like of course like there's negative stuff, and then but I would say for now, like what he just told me like a few days ago, he was like he was tired by doing the fashion, and then he don't really know what exactly happened in fashionism right now. And for me, like in my opinion, I would say he creates, he's the like few people like who start doing the YouTube like fashion YouTube like channel, like for what I know, like so
like Gizmo started one recently.
Gizmo they don't start they just start recently, and then but I'll say he like I think there's something I can learn from like I see, but just like it's not about like the opinion of for me to look at fashion. It's about like how you create a different kind of like job to work, not just as a media, not just in the like the big media. You can work as a like yourself as a YouTuber.
Facts.
You can get resource from like big brands, luxury brand like Dior, Prada, whatever. Like not just you need to join some company to do that. So that's also the point. Like I told him, like I want to learn from him. Yeah. And,
no, I respect that. Guys are asking for your Instagram, by the way. So share your social media.
It's called I am Howard C. IAMHOWARD.
You can type it in the if you're
I can
close
type
to
in the chat. Okay.
TFA versus TFA.
That's a century.
You just gotta like take turns of like spitting fashion knowledge.
I mean, you guys is like you guys definitely have so many collections. I mean, like for me, just like I'm trying to. I have a lot of collection, and
let's see them. If you want to show us, let's see.
Let me show some random like grail piece. Maybe you guys.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look.
Yeah. So like I have this too. Like I think this too was kind of rare. And this,
my guy's room is looking like some brutalism type You can tell he's an
Okay.
architect. Look at his room.
wow.
I have yeah. My room was like this, like different
My
ranks,
guy's
and then
room literally
I
looks
also have
like a
the
brutalist
Antwerp
area.
sixes. I
Yo,
got like Margiela right here. Yeah.
That's some
And
focus, man.
let me sing.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me. Yeah, I think this few is worth to share you guys. So like this one, I think this one is Gizmo give it to me, because this one is like a
Oh,
Mickey
that's
Mouse,
the
like
yeah.
Oh, mad.
yeah.
Didn't
And then
Gizmo have
this
that?
is
I think he had it.
yeah, he had,
Yeah, he
because
used to wear that.
he told me, like, what he told me was like he was a friend with the designer. So he gave in two pieces, like one is white and one is black, and then this one doesn't, like, it's not for sale. So you can see,
Yeah.
like, because he had prototype, so it's not for sale. And then I told him like I was looking for this one. He just told me like he had two, and then he gave it to me. Yeah, when I this year when I visited him. Yeah, so he gave it to me for free. Yeah, it was kind of crazy, but yeah, it was a gift. And also, like, yeah, I got this one rare pieces, I think. It's 1999 Chastrik, Prada Chastrik.
Oh shit.
Yeah, this one.
That's
Yeah,
fire.
this one also. Yeah, I really like this one, and also like.
Yo, when you come to CSM, you can't come and outdress me, bro.
For sure. I mean, like I would definitely it's my bag. Like, if you guys really need to, link up with me, like I would definitely be cool with that.
Yeah, for sure. When you come to London, just like hit me up. I followed you on Instagram and everything, so yeah.
And then like this one is one, like, a jacket I recently caught. It's called it's like Hossein Kalayan. And
that's fire.
Yeah,
My guy's got the
this
Hussein
one.
Chalayan. God
This
damn.
one is like a parachute jacket, I'll say. And then I found it. I caught it really nice, like in a really nice price, about like 240, including shipping.
Jeez, where'd you buy it from? That's actually a really good price.
Grill.
Grails.
Wow. Yeah, I found it on Grill, and then it has like the original tag, and then I don't think you can see this piece like in a lot of places, because it's like kind of old. Yeah, I think it's really old pieces. And then let me see what else. And then also, like, for the product, like for a product bag, I have a card with it.
Oh yeah.
So it's like it's so hard for me to look out like this bag, because like I fly to I fly to Bangkok for this bag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
Wait,
for this
what?
bag,
My guy flew to Bangkok just for the bag.
Yeah.
Yo, I rate the hustle. Damn.
Yeah. I fly to Bangkok just for the bag, because I know, like, seller told me, like, okay, like he got the bag in Bangkok, and I was like, okay, I'll just fly to Bangkok, and then can you sell me? And then he was like, yeah, like, can you save me some shipping, and then gave me some discounts, and then I can fly to your city. And then he was like, yeah, okay. So I fly, and then I got the bag. Right.
This guy's gonna come to CSM and out drip me, bro, every day. God damn.
But really, like, I don't really I mean, I'm not going with fashion major, because I first want to go like with the same. I want to study like fashion, like journalism. But but my family, because my family doing architecture, so.
Oh yeah, I know, bro. I had to study engineering, bro. I know what you're paying.
And then I just, because of that, so that's why I decide just go with the architecture. And I think I think beside clothes, most of the collection I have is books. I have a lot of books, like I think I can show you guys, like.
I actually want to see. I'm curious.
Like, because I think there's one, like there's a guy told me, it was like, people spend so much money to buy clothes, then why don't they willing to spend money on buying books? Books, you can save it forever. So that's why, like, I start collecting books, and then
information is forever. It stays in your brain.
Like, I got, like, I was really a big fan of John Takahashi, Undercover. So I got the collection book.
Yo, that's fire.
Yeah, and then I also got like some weird, like some really weird stuff I think you can only cop in Tokyo, like some stuff like this, like do you know like this one? Like it's collection. It's just a collection. It's called Undercover. The character he created.
Oh man.
And yeah, I think you can only buy in Japan. So I have this one, and then I also got the umbrella for sure.
Oh shit!
So I just
I remember seeing that umbrella in DSM. That's from the recent collection, isn't it? That's recent. Yeah.
You like it's only like I think it's not even £10.
Yeah.
If you buy in Japan, like and then people sell like $200.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It was literally in DSM for like some cheap price.
Yeah, it's really cheap. And then I think the one I have, I bought like a lot of books, not just fashion. I bought like this one. This one is one of my favorite. It's a photo book that Karl Lagerfeld take it.
Yeah.
Like he present.
Wow, bro, you're really into fashion. Like I actually really like it.
Yeah. And yeah, like, and I also got like some books like fashion like 150 years, just talking about the history, and then also like it has like 150 brands, in the book.
Yeah.
Some stuff like that, and then yeah, I can let me show, like I can show like this. I got a bunch.
Wow.
My guy's on the journalism levels.
Yeah. And
bro, it's quite annoying. You couldn't study journalism, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, but I think like, but because the reason why I didn't choose to study fashion is not just, it's also because like seeing like people like Virgil.
Yeah.
Like I think the industry kind of changed it because a lot of people, they don't study fashion and then they do fashion.
Yeah.
So. I think so. Yeah, so it's like I just think like the whole industry changes because you have you just need the creativity rather than have the skills, because people can do, like a lot of people have skills. So I think not really need to have the skills to do the work. You just like you can be a designer, but you can just tell other people like, okay, what clothes I want, and then they can do for you.
Yeah, that's
you don't need to do it.
You just come with the creative ideas.
Yeah. And then I think this one, like this brand, I think you guys probably not really familiar with. It's called Necessity Sense.
Okay, I've not heard of that, but the piece looks really nice though.
Yeah, this is like a brand from my country, and then they it's like one of the they also have the biggest shop and like selecting shop in my city, and I have a lot of their clothes, and then it just like they made like really good quality, but just like it's not really expensive, and then it's like you can see like the pattern, like it's just like it's really nice. So yeah, lows on I definitely don't have like a lot of clothes like you guys. So.
Yeah. Do you know what I like about your mentality though is that a lot of people who take the route of not studying fashion but want to like have a brand, for example, or stuff like that, or go into fashion later. The issue I have with those type of people is because like you read a lot of books, for example, they don't read the books and then they don't want to study fashion, so they don't really have a wider knowledge of like how fashion works or like how to find your own references and things like that. So then when they make a brand, most of the time, 9 times out of 10, it's like a derivative of a brand that already exists instead of like their own creative project. So that's what I really like about your mentality, because you're still taking the time to read and
Thank you so much.
all that stuff.
Yeah, I think, like I know like a lot of people, like from like I think in this few years, like a lot of like teenage like me, like they go.
Bro, I'm just taking it all in, man.
He's just listening.
I'm being educated.
Oh, okay.
I'm being educated.
I hope like I didn't talk too boring.
Oh no. I'm really interested in what you got to say.
Everyone's interested in what you're saying. It's just people are just gonna make jokes because that's just how it is.
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because like like there are a few times like people was like, oh, like we don't really interesting about like what like to see your collection or something like that. so
they're just being trolls. Like ignore it.
Like this.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's like what I'm saying is like I feel like a lot of people in my same age, like they want to study fashion,
Yeah.
like, but just like they don't really how to say, they don't really like look into it. Not just
No,
like
I agree.
they just they just like it. They just
study,
only like it.
I know people who study
I-
fashion design who don't even, they study fashion design, but they don't even read any books. They don't know about anything in the past. So those are very, like, for example, I've interned at fashion brands with CSM students, and so CSM is kind of weird because it's like a mix of like some of the greatest designers of all time, and then some guys who are just trash. Who I'm like, I don't even know how you got into this school, because I've been interning. Remember, I didn't study fashion design, and I'm like, because my first internship, basically, my boss taught me to make patterns from scratch, and how to like sew to like a basic level. So when I went on my like some of my other internships after, I'm with these CSM students, and they don't know how to make a pattern properly. And I'm like, but you go to CSM. I've just like interned. And it's to do with interest. So they've gone to CSM because they're interested in fashion a little bit. And they've seen that, okay, CSM is the school if you're interested in fashion. So they're not into it. So someone like me, I'm like just seeking all the information from everywhere. So now I'm on an internship and I see these guys from CSM. I'm like intimidated, like, oh my God, I'm going to be terrible. And then I see their work and it's like, man, they're not even that. It's just they're overrated. So CSM has a mix of like, there's the top students at CSM would be probably the best you've ever seen, but there's also some people that go to CSM also who, like, trust me, they're not, the max they're going to do is like work under like a brand for the rest of their life. Like they don't have any creative like output.
So basically just like you know, it has like people like who become famous from CSM, but just like not all the people.
Yeah, not everyone.
Only people who have the creativity can go go for their future, like for long term.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Of course. But what about like? I was kind of curious for like about a lot of like people opinion about Virgil, you know, because for me, like, personal, I don't really I'll not say I don't like him, but just like for what I see and for what I really do research on it, and I know for him, like, I don't really like the way he works, like he works for Louis Vuitton, you know. I don't like the, how to say, because I know like he really good at like marketing,
right,
and he do really like create the stuff that people wanted right now for in this like period of time. But just like for me, like I look like from like the work which other designers do in the past, like maybe we said like Raf Simons, you know, or was talking about like you know, like for those people who only creating stuff like Margiela, or we're talking about like Comme des Garçons, Yoji Yamamoto, you know, like it's different. Like I feel like he put like, okay, like to be honest, like there are a lot of like pieces he made like it's from copy.
Right.
He copied other stuff, like, and then he remade it, and then and then put like a Louis Vuitton logo in it. He sell it.
Right.
But just like for people who don't know it, they would feel like, oh, he's so creativity. But for people who know what exactly was that, like they know, okay, like that's not his work, you know. He remake it. But I mean, do you agree with that, or just like?
There's obviously some things that like Virgil has been called out for copying where it makes sense. But that obviously, from what I've seen anyway, is like more of the past stuff. So obviously that stuff, I've seen some things where it's just like, yo, that is blatant, where I can't defend him. But more recently, he's actually, he said he's opening the Virgil. Don't worry, we won't go too deep. But more recently, he's actually making good, unique designs. But people just basically, based off of the past stuff he's done, like the whole Pyrex stuff, people still like penalize him for it, even though he's like actually progressed as a designer. So that's obviously what I feel about that. But even when it comes to Virgil, even if you don't think he's not the best designer, which I'm never going to say he's like a legendary designer, because he isn't. Like, there's legendary designers like Margiela. That's not Virgil, but Virgil, everyone is a legend in their own way. And like Virgil, you can take what someone does really good and then take what someone else does really good and then combine all of those. So that's the thing about Virgil. So you can take how Virgil has marketed and you can take his genius in terms of how he presents himself and how he markets and then apply that to maybe a Margiela like mindset of thinking when it comes to design.
Okay.
So you can just take positive cues of every different person.
Because like for what I think is like, I will not say he's not a good designer because he do design, but just like he do a lot of different design.
Right.
But just like for his work, I would say I like for the work like he collab with IKEA, like I would say that's a really nice design. Like I really like it.
He's an architect, so that's easy.
For sure. So that's why like I don't like his work, but I don't like him as a person, but just like I like his work. Like when he do the collab with IKEA, so I bought like the clock. But people ask me, I was like, oh, you say you don't like Virgil, but just like I don't think it's about the people. I think it's more about like what he made,
Right.
Like maybe for his clothes, for his like the bag he made, I'm not really like like it, but just like the work he do with and like furniture, or we talk about like architecture. Yeah, I think it's really nice, So I think that's that's what I think about him. Like
that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's just really kind of weird. I never really go live on YouTube.
Most people don't.
It's my first time. Yeah. I just like like I don't really know how it's work. How does this work? So it's like I don't see any. Is it possible? Like, is it possible for me to see the comments or not?
Yeah, it is.
Like,
top right corner.
Top right corner. The top right corner. No, I don't. No, I don't think I can. Yeah, there's only like I can see the chats like.
That's weird. So it says like on the, if you look on the right, it says private chat, and then if you look upwards, it has the comment section there.
Mine's got like private chat and live comments right next to
it. Yeah, I don't see it. I only have like audios, videos, cam, chat, and leave.
Oh no, that's at the bottom. That's at the bottom. So look to your right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then there's only live, and then counting that like the times.
Really? That's weird.
No, at the left side, only left side have stuff, and then like at my right side there's nothing. So I think maybe it's because like I'm a guest. So yeah.
Bro, I've been reading these comments like literally the entire time.
The comments are hilarious. They were like, Sicckm8, wave if you're still alive.
Bro.
Well, maybe I should go. Yeah, maybe I should go. Yeah, you guys think it. Like,
I know it's cool. Thank you for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no,
I really like that. Like,
thank you so much.
People that follow this channel are that passionate about fashion. That's what I love.
100%, man. It was really good to see.
Yeah, I'll definitely try to link up with you guys if it's possible. Like
when you're in London, just like message me on Instagram.
Yeah, I think it will be the end of this year, October.
Because it's a long time from now. Yeah, it's a very long time from now.
Yeah. So you still in CSM? No, you still studying CSM?
What, me? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So I probably will see you in CSM. Yeah. So I'll just go.
Yeah. Thanks for hopping on, man.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Peace.
All right, cool.
Yo, the comments were so funny, bro.
I loved every single one of these. It's like Sicckm8's face was like a quarantine mood, and like, bro.
My guy said the Asian archive meets the African archive.
Bro.
The fashion archive Asian clone. What the hell?
I was so confused because he put in the private chat, it's like, yo, can I jump in? I was like, but that's your name. Like, he put the fashion archive as his name. and then he just jumped on it. It caught me off guard. It's cool though. I love what he was saying. It was very interesting. So
it's so funny. There's just like Sicckm8, wave if you're still alive.
But yeah, I mean, it worked. He plugged himself. I followed him on Instagram. I was very interested in his story.
It works. I like the hustle. I always respect the hustle. Guys, follow him on Instagram. I'll put his Instagram in the chat right now.
So what is he going to your school next semester?
Yeah.
Awesome. So what is like CSM like Brit School for fashion, kind of?
Yeah, basically. There's like a few ones, but like everyone overhypes CSM. Let me not lie, because there's other good school. Like people act like the only good fashion school is like CSM. There's like UCA, University for the Creative Arts. That's in Epsom. That's like close to London. Then there's like obviously Westminster's like really famous for like fashion design, especially. What other good fashion schools are there? There's RCA, Royal College of Arts. That's like really big.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically, those are like the big schools. But obviously everyone like CSM.
Yeah.
Like there's even London College of Fashion as well. So.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Isn't that the one that Shaq from PAQ goes to? He goes London School of Fashion, right?
Yeah, I think he went LCF. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I can't remember what he studied. I think he studied like art or something like that.
Oh, but yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bro, yeah, I think I found out on one of your streams about the whole like PAQ controversy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's mad. I mean, it kind of makes sense because I was sitting there thinking like, surely their contracts can't be that great, right? Like, if they've started from the very start of it and they've gotten so big now that they've more or less outgrown the show, so their contracts must not be good for them right now. But
yeah,
I mean, I don't know anything about it. I'm literally just all like secondhand information on my end. But it was interesting. It was very interesting.
Right.
Because I still get people. Well, there's still people on their Instagram like, "Yo, when are you gonna like drop the next episode?" And like judging by behind the scenes, it's just not gonna happen, I suppose.
Yeah. It
was weird. I mean, their show concept was very. At the time, it just like blew up. You know what I mean? When PAQ first came about, it just literally, it's almost like it came out of nowhere.
They spent a lot of money on the marketing though. Like they had adverts everywhere. They were spending loads of money. Yeah.
I kept seeing it like all over, even like Facebook, and I hardly use Facebook. I literally like scroll down the tiniest bits, like boom, PAQ, new streetwear fashion show.
Yeah. And
it definitely worked for a time. But I think towards the end, it did get a little bit samey, but that's just my like critique.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, honestly, it's been like over 3 hours, so I don't want to take your time longer, unless you want to stay, of course.
I think I better go and eat. It's like 9:45 at night.
I'm like, bro, this is getting really long. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but thank you so much for doing this.
No worries, man. It was an absolute pleasure. Love talking with you today.
So where can people find you before you go?
You can find me on YouTube. Just type in Sicckm8 and just literally go in the pin rolling video because that's still like top 10 search. Sicckm8 on the Instagram, Sicckm8.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know, I do have Twitter. It's all the same. But that's where you can find me. Cheers.
All right, thanks so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you
everyone, go subscribe to Sicckm8's channel, follow him on Insta, all of that. And yeah.
Done there.
Wait, what does this person say? Why is everyone just roasting PAQ in the chat?
Oh, bro. I think it's one of those like Marmite situations where you either love them or you hate them. I quite like them just because they've got a lot of entertainment value. I think they really bring a lot of personality. I mean, fashion-wise, though, you know, it's all up in the air. But it's a really good, well-produced, entertaining show.
And someone's chasing you out of the live. My guy was like, "Bye."
Okay, I'll go. I was gonna say, do you normally stay on and do more bits?
Yeah, but then I cut it down.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna leave. So I'll speak to you guys later.
Yeah. Peace.